It's December 13th, Friday the 13th, 2024.
Oh.
I'm at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds, baby. A wonderful Friday, a busy weekend ahead. Lots to talk about, lots to discuss, from fake retirements to unfortunate returns and Saturday night's main event. And not every return was unfortunate, come to think of it, because one actually happened. The other one is, we'll talk about that in a second. Jeremy Lambert's here. How you doing, Jeremy?
I didn't realize it was Friday the 13th.
You bet.
Oh, man. We're going to talk about some scary stuff today. Professional wrestling.
Dun, dun, dun. Wait, do I have it here? Wait, oh, no, that turned down. Is it this?
What is that? Why are birds chirping?
Wasn't that? Is it this?
That's like happy music. Is that for Taylor Swift's birthday?
Yeah. Her birthday's not today. Isn't that November?
No, it's December 13th.
Oh, is it December? Her birthday's today?
Yeah, her birthday's today.
Happy birthday, Taylor.
I believe Denise Salcedo, if she hasn't already, we're not doing the womp womp. I'm drowning that out.
Sorry, I was
I believe Denise Salcedo is releasing I'm just spoiling Denise's plans, special video that I should have an executive producer's credit on. I don't know if I do, but
I mean, is it really a spoiler if you expect it? I mean, it's Taylor Swift and it's a thing. Like Denise is gonna do a thing. She's either gonna do a TikTok or she's gonna do a full-on video, and she's gonna do a video. Like, come on.
Is Denise on the TikTok? I mean, I assume she is. She's actually up on like social media.
She was on TikTok like before it became TikTok, when it was like Musically or something. She used to tell this story all the time. She was like big on the app before it turned into TikTok, and that's how she like got her start doing video stuff.
Oh, okay. I mean, like that sounds about right. That checks out. Denise Salcedo is the best. I don't know if she's gonna be. She might big time us for the Christmas show tomorrow.
I mean, she's already left the staff group on Twitter.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, but like she can still access it. She has friends on the inside.
That's true. I'm sure she can just, get in and not have to access anything. But we are doing a holiday stream over on the main channel. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a watch along with Saturday night's main event. So it's happening tomorrow night. I will be there. Jeremy, it's a little interesting for me because I got my start hosting these watch alongs during the pandemic. It was between that and hosting the gaming streams with you. That's like how I started at Fightful. So when Sean said, when Sean said we're going to do a watch along for Saturday night's main event, I got a little misty eyed.
He made it kind of easy like I haven't spoken on this Christmas show for 3 years now. I've said 0 words on this show. He made it easy this year because it's during Saturday night's main event. Guess who's covering Saturday night's main event? So like, I'm not going to be able to speak. I've already got like how I've planned this out, but like, I'm literally going to be working. People are going to see me in my element. Like Kendrick Lamar, can't take me on my element. People are going to see me on my element as I'm looking over at the screen over here, and then I'm turning back around, and then I'm typing. People are going to be like, why Jeremy has neck issues because he keeps looking. And then the Thunder are playing at 8:30. Somebody looking at this monitor here, watching the Thunder game. It's going to be easy not to speak during this show. I got work to do, and I got basketball to watch.
I'm just going to have my screen open with wherever Saturday night's main event is airing. I don't even know if Sportsnet's airing it here in Canada. Uh-oh, that's going to be a problem. I know YouTube, a bunch of places are airing for free on YouTube, so I might just have to turn on ye old VPN and hope for the best. We'll see. But if you want to hope for the best, go ahead, leave a thumbs up on the video, toss a like. See that little thing that just kind of flashed on your app? That's the fireworks. Go ahead, leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. We drop content just about every single day. And if it's not the Spotlight or it's not us, then usually it's coexisting with Rob and Maggie. On the weekends, you've got Wrestling Made Me Cry with Kylie Collins. There's always stuff. So go ahead, drop a thumbs up here, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to donate a super chat, any amount gets your question or statement read on the air and pays the aforementioned creators. There's also FMC with Jeremy and SP3 when the audio works on.
Yeah, the audio didn't work this year, so that's unfortunate. But I said this year, but this week. So what can you do?
You can make an argument this year has been a big bunch of technical snafus.
Yeah. What can you do?
Well, TNA is about to make another one, so I guess I got to get right into it because this morning, as I'm heading back from my morning routine, I'm out of the house early and I see Wrestling Observer newsletter. Tessa Blanchard on her way back to TNA Wrestling. You haven't figured it out already. I do cover TNA for the website. I do talk about TNA because it's my job. And this is one thing that I automatically said, why? And this has been ongoing. Let's not forget that the TNA Tessa thing has been ongoing since April. People have been talking about a return and talks since April. This was at Rebellion. Now we're back on it, and it seems like it's happening. And if the reporting is accurate, and Dave, people have their feelings about Dave and some of the stuff he reports, but this seems pretty solid that Tessa's coming back. The reporting is, if you don't want TNA spoilers, cover your ears. 3, 2, 1. She's going to go after Jordynne Grace as Jordynne Grace begins her departure plans from TNA over to presumably WWE. And that's a choice. I told Jeremy of these plans this morning when we hopped on this morning.
I thought she was going to be the 23 spoiler, and she was going to revisit her feud with Sami Callihan.
See, I like that idea. I mean, I don't like any ideas.
What?
I don't like any of these ideas, but I like that idea better. No, 23 is Sami. I've resigned myself to the fact that it's just Sami being like, who could it be? We have to stop these people, best friend PCO. And it's going to be Sami who turns on PCO and wins the Digital Media Championship. And you know what? Sami Callihan holding that title makes perfect sense. Let him do everything online. Let him do his hacker shtick. And it's easy as that. There's no one else I would want it to be. Yeah, Tessa potentially coming back. When you have a deep knockouts roster and you have women on the rise in your company, this is not the name I would have brought in. This is not the person I would have discussed. Some people have said, oh, it's been 5 years, maybe she's turned around. No, she's done multiple interviews in which she's been asked, any remorse or anything. And she's never shown a shred of remorse for anything she's done. She's just being brought back. She's being rewarded for for being on good behavior while she's been in Mexico.
I'm not going to play devil's advocate too much. I'll be factual. This is not me playing devil's advocate. This is me stating facts.
I'd like that.
I believe I'm going to make sure I get these facts correctly. By the way, the Rosa Negra and her did kind of patch things up.
Yes.
So there was that where they at least posted a photo together, and they were both smiling. I assume it was, on the up and up. They made amends. It wasn't against anybody's will or anything like that, but it seemed like there was some forgiveness there. I think we have to take that for something that the person, one of the people, I shouldn't say the person, because there were multiple people who spoke out against Tessa. One of the people who spoke out against her, they did patch things up. So there is that.
Oh, I thought you were going to add something else to that.
Nah, I don't really like.
No, I get it. I didn't know if you had anything else to add to that. But yes, the La Rosa Negra and Tessa have allegedly patched things up. Yes, that has been talked about over the last few years. She's still, I don't know. Again, she's damaged goods in a lot of ways. And I just don't understand what TNA thinks they're getting out of this. I mean, I assume they think that this is the perfect replacement for Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace, who for so many years, people have talked about, maybe it's going to be Jordynne who goes after the TNA world title. This was before WWE came calling and so on and so forth. Jensen and I used to talk about it on the watch-alongs. We talked about it on the post-shows. What if Jordynne Grace decides to go for the world title so that we could basically get the Tessa Blanchard only women to hold the world championship? We get that away and move it over to Jordynne Grace. They didn't do that. So if they think at TNA that this is the way to bring her back and it's such a big deal, like, I get it, but also I don't understand it, because your fans, a lot of them are just like, we've moved past this. And on top of that, I keep saying they've had so many women signed to the company come in. They just spent yesterday talking about Xia Brookside's upside. You've got I'm going to mess that up again. Lei Ying Lee, the former Xia Li. And I get it. She's not the biggest star in the world, but they're pumping her up to be somebody. They're giving her showcase matches and she's performing. You've got Savannah Evans as another person, this big badass woman who comes in and like has a shot to at least be built. You have women. You've got Masha, who is your knockouts champion. There are so many people on that roster, you know what, male and female at this point, that have the opportunity to be big and they're not getting that opportunity. Now they think the answer is bring her back. And I don't think that this is the answer to me. We got a super chat from Ten Ruza, and there are others, by the way. We'll get to them in a sec. Saying, Joel, I give TNA a year and a bit before it's back to where it was about 2 to 3 years ago. WWE is going to ransack it, leave it dry. They're fools. So the latter part, I don't think it's necessarily that it's ransacking and leaving it dry. They're absolutely identifying and talking to talent that they see as, you know, helpful for their brand. Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace are obviously two that come to mind immediately. There will be others who make the jump. That's fine. Jonathan Gresham is another one who might. Jeremy and I talked about it. There's a potential for Jonathan Gresham to jump over, be a player coach in the NXT system if that's something he wants to do. He's already doing that in Memphis and the Indies. So like, there's a possibility of that. But also, like, they just did the rebrand a year ago. Anthem's made no bones about wanting to sell the company if they can, but who's going to buy them? Who's going to buy TNA at this point? We're not, like, WWE's not in acquisition mode when it comes to tape libraries. AEW said no. And who else is there? Going to go to Billy?
Hi, guys!
That's better than Billy, by the way.
Jericho just shows up and he just buys TNA.
Let it happen. They used his theme once, so I don't say why not. Sorry, I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag. Yes, AEW did say no at one point to TNA. Sorry, breaking news. That was the thing that happened. By the way, Pro Wrestling Podcast. Hey, welcome back, man. I haven't seen you in a while.
Hey,
party people.
CM Punk Insider.
That's right. Our punk man. He's in a punk band. But I'll be honest, I've been Cresta Star, who co-hosts the Impact post shows with me. We've been talking about what the new year is going to bring for us. And there have been talks of us moving to a pay-per-view only stream, because we don't know if covering the weekly show and even we've stopped kind of covering the plus shows because they're on Friday nights, they run late and nothing's really happening. So we haven't really been on we haven't been on the ball covering every single TNA show. We understand that Fightful is like the most watched TNA post show because it's mostly the wrestlers and the staff. No, it's not the only one. There are others. I'll be honest. There are others that are doing it, just not to the degree that we do it, and not with the viewership that we have. That's not a flex. That's just like, you can see our analytics. You know, I know the Torch does one behind their paywall. I know others do theirs either behind the paywall or they do free ones. People are doing it independently that are getting some looks, and that's great. I love a creator who's passionate about what they do, and so are we. But we've gotten to the point where we don't know how seriously we want to keep going with this on a weekly basis. So for us, we've been talking about moving back to pay-per-view only, and maybe that the last like live show we cover is the Impact live show after Genesis, and then going from there, because doing stuff like this, bringing back Tessa Blanchard, for me at least, is a huge turnoff. I can separate the wrestling company from like the wrestlers and whatever, the personal and the professional. Like, it's just one of those things that doesn't make sense to me to bring her back when you have so much talent at your disposal. You've got Moose for 2 more years. Sorry, I almost did it without laughing. But that's kind of where we're at. And this story kind of like made me believe further that if this is happening, I'm a little closer to checking out, and I don't want to feel that way.
Watch TNA Final Resolution tonight, everybody. I assume you're not doing a post show for this.
No, because the SmackDown has to go home to Saturday night's main event. We're doing the watch along for the holiday stream. You and I are live right now. Like, I don't want to burn myself out and be up late on Friday. I'm already feeling like a little health wise, so I just want to relax. I will watch the show. I will give my thoughts on Blue Sky. The match I'm most looking forward to is the Fatal 4-Way, and like I have a theory. I think Santana's winning. I think Joe Hendry might be turning heel tonight, or at least starting a heel journey. And him and Macklin are going to start a thing. I think the way they're plotting it, may as well get the TNA talk out of the way early, is you've got Josh Alexander and Mike Santana had a tete-a-tete last night on the show. I think that's going to, I think Santana wins tonight. Tete-a-tete, head-to-head. They had a meeting of the minds. They had a little tense moment between friends. How's that? Anyway, they had that backstage. It really makes me feel Santana's going to win the 4-way. Santana's going to win at Genesis, win the world title. Great. Him and Alexander will have something in February that will be Alexander's send-off, when after the match, Josh Alexander shakes Mike Santana's hand, puts him over, calls him the new heart and soul of TNA. That's what Santana has been presented as and should be. That's what Josh was. And then meanwhile, Joe Hendry's getting so pissed because he just can't catch a break that he eventually turns in the match. And Macklin, who's been on a babyface startup, they have a thing that eventually leads to Joe Hendry maybe beating Santana as early as maybe Slammiversary and in New York. Like, that would upset some people because it's Santana in New York losing that title. It's just an idea. People are not a big fan of heel Joe Hendry, but we haven't seen it in the way that it could be presented. Joe Hendry was a heel when he came in. Like, he was. Watch the videos, watch the promos. They were tongue-in-cheek heel. He was stealing people's money. He was impregnating women and showing up because he had a catchy song. Like, that was the introduction for Joe Hendry.
Yeah, I remember. That seems bad.
If this is the way that they want to tell the story before he does whatever he does at the end of 25, that's whatever.
That seems terrible. Speaking of things that seem terrible.
Terrible indeed, yeah. You know, why is this happening? Did she do this or did you do this?
I didn't do anything, Joel. This is the problem when we have a static link. You know,
that's true.
People who have it can just show up.
Well, I mean, we're not talking about Ring of Honor, so I don't know why she's here.
Well, there is a super chat for Ring of Honor. So.
Oh, is there really? Yeah, all right, fine. Let's get this on the screen and then bring on whoever's behind us. It will be, Ten Russo says, it'll be wild if the tables turn and Ring of Honor becomes more important week to week than TNA if Ring of Honor gets that TV deal. New Anthem head will be interesting. Old Anthem head was interesting too. Big ups to Carlos Silva, former MLB pitcher. No, he's not the new president of sports. They just share the same name. Anyway, here's the president of Ring of Honor, Kimmy Sokol.
I texted Jeremy and said, I'm going to crash at 10:15 to 10:30. And you know what? He didn't answer me.
I'm tired. I don't like answering messages.
It's pretty on par.
Yeah.
Rude. Wow. Hi, Joel. It's so nice of you to show up on your own show.
It is, actually.
I was here on Wednesday. The show was awful, and now we're back. And the show is 20 minutes old.
Yeah.
Do you see? Look at the comments. They're excited I'm here, Joel. See?
Someone's got to be excited for you.
I think Tony
a lot
Khan's
of people
gonna
excited.
Tony Khan's
well,
gonna
don't ask him. Don't ask him to sign a "We Want Kimmy" sign. He won't sign that.
Oh, I saw that. I was like, damn. I don't understand.
It kind of rolled. I respected it.
Respected Tony or the fan that tried to get him to sign it?
I respected Tony. Like the fan, I respect the fan as well. I don't need people. I don't know who was recording if like they were together, but that was such a gotcha moment of, oh, let me record Tony trying to sign this sign here and see what his reaction is. Like that was kind of lame, I thought.
You know what? Effort. They get effort. But yeah, Ring of Honor TV deal. Wouldn't you be so excited?
Would we?
Sure. It's not. I mean, I'm not going to be watching. It's not.
Is it going to change anything?
Yeah.
No.
No, you're just going to be watching it on True TV and losing some. I mean, they won't be taking in fans' money. They'll just be getting money from a television program. So maybe for the fans, it's a win. But like, other than that, it's just.
I don't got to pay $9.99.
I guess. I mean, you'll have to pay $50 for the quarterly pay-per-view.
You'll have to pay for the pay-per-view still.
QT Marshall and Jay Lethal did get it confirmed yesterday.
Yes. Chi-Town's super chat saying nothing screams ROH Hammerstein Ballroom more than QT Marshall, Jay Lethal in 2024. Okay, the Jay Lethal part, yes, because Jay Lethal and Hammerstein used to be a thing. QT not so much. But honestly, like I don't know. I could see someone bringing the boom to ROH during that, and I'm not talking Adam Cole.
Oh, they got to put the title on him. That's
No.
Fine by
What do
me.
you mean no?
Boom! Give him
Boom!
the double chocolate chunk cookie title. Boom! Best episode of AEW ever. Ring of Costco.
Oh, let's go.
ROC. Wait, that's something else here in Canada, but anyway.
That would
That's like a
be
military.
I'm thinking ROTC. That's ROTC.
Yeah, that's ROTC. Yeah.
that would be absolutely horrible. We do not need that man to be the Ring of Honor champion. Is that going to get us a TV deal? You think?
Yeah.
And a promo deal with Costco.
He's a better promo than Chris Jericho. He's
True.
younger than Chris Jericho. He's
Absolutely.
a better wrestler than Chris Jericho. He has more virability than Chris Jericho. He has more of a mainstream foothold than Chris Jericho. And if he has all of this over Chris Jericho, then he has all of this over the entire roster. So,
Do we think Matt Cardona is actually going to win? Are we all in agreement Jericho is going to win next week?
well,
It would be hilarious if Cardona won, just for the GCW
Oh,
conversation.
he should take it to GCW and then he should like throw it in the trash.
Oh,
Shane Douglas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alunder Blaze. Let's go.
Yeah. Mix between Shane Douglas and Alundra Blaze. Yeah.
Did you see our GCW TV title match we got going on?
The 6-way scramble.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
hell
calling
yeah.
it lazy booking.
You know who should win that match, right?
Who?
Vanilla, baby. I choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby. Yeah. My guy, Blake Christian. I don't
No.
like and chains, but you can't tie me down. You can whip your loving on me. Whip your loving on me. Vanilla, baby. I choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby. She's 28, telling me I'm still a baby. I get love in Detroit like Skilla, baby. Oh, that's the best video ever. Put the title on Blake Christian.
I'm fine with that. You know what? Blake Christian comes back to GCW, has that ROH TV title. That's the man right there. Give him all those titles.
Who else is in this match that who could possibly care about?
It's
Well, Brian
Willie
Cage is
Mack
second.
I like
versus Mark Davis versus Commander taking a break.
Isn't he in
from
the
the
Continental
C2.
Classic? Why is he
He's
on
taking a
this?
break. He's taking a break.
He's taking a break.
What?
We were on a break.
He
It's
what?
ridiculous.
He needs a very calm break halfway through the C2, and Brian Cage, our champ, AR Fox, and Blake Christian.
This is the most like collision match you could book. Plus Blake Christian.
It's lazy booking. It's
Oh.
garbage.
It's Ring of Honor booking. Happy TV deal. Love this. Ryan Lambert sent a super chat saying, "Give us a cookie spinner ROH title."
Why do you have this video saved?
Because we did a whole show
Oh,
around that video.
we did. It was one of our best. No one got upset in the comments. So clearly
No, we got a
something
lot of
right.
videos saved. Are you kidding me? This
That's
is a
kind of
morning
upset.
show.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, some
Yeah.
of our favorite ones are in here too.
Oh, speak, bitch. Come on now.
Can't get us demonetized if we're doing it in 2 seconds.
It's very mean though.
That's true. A lot of these are very memeable.
God. But Tony's back. We should all be so not timeless.
Oh, that's a 45 minutes into the show conversation. What are you doing?
Yeah, we
I
got to talk
don't
about TNA for some reason first.
Oh, because if you're like me and you're keeping track of the viewership, you know that the beginning of the show is not always so hot because people are starting to file in, and then usually by the 45-minute mark, things kind of reach their first plateau. 45 minutes is the winner. I know how to do this, Gabe.
All right, sure.
Doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Ten Rizzo says ROH needs Gresham. Gresham needs ROH. Need ROH, New Japan Strong, and Maple Leaf Pro to work together and pump everyone up. Cardona looks good with the Ring of Honor title.
I don't know if
Gresham
he's trolling or not.
has to be. Gresham. It feels like Gresham's going to be a player coach in NXT at this point.
Yeah.
It just feels like that's where he's going. Frankie Kazarian's going to beat him tonight in the pre-show, so have fun with that.
Oh, hold on.
Pre-show
Hold on.
What you got?
Sean Ross Sapp, who allegedly breaks news.
He does.
Regarding Tessa Blanchard, there was a lot of talent that got word she was signing with TNA this week. When I asked higher-ups and others, they claimed they didn't know. What the fuck? We don't know if we signed her or not. I'm told Jordan Grace had pushed back on working with her. Well, luckily for Jordan, she's just going to get squashed and be on out the door. So.
No. What are you going to do, Jordan? Not lose your match?
She
But also, like, this was something Cresta and I talked about when we were giving predictions for tonight's Final Resolution. It was like, you have Rosemary, who's clearly going after Masha Slamovich for the Knockouts title. You got Jordan Grace, who's leaving, and they kind of started defining her away. So, like, but you're not going to have Jordan lose another big match. So I said they're just going to wonk the finish. And this wasn't what I meant.
You put into the universe.
I caused this massive problem.
Who's Jordan facing tonight?
Rosemary.
Oh, Rosemary. Okay.
Because again, Rosemary won the 4-way at Turning Point in the pre-show, or 3-way in the pre-show, and she kind of like made her. She shot her shot. Said I was going after the Knockouts title. That's fine. Her and Masha is a fine match. Like, it's an Impact main event match. That's fine. But like, then they did Jordan, and I'm like, why is beating Jordan Grace going to be the reason you get the title shot? It's just stupid.
And you yell
I
at
like
me
that
about
they
Ring of
didn't
Honor.
know. We're not talking about Ring of Honor. I like that they didn't know. Hey, have you signed? Asking Carlos Silva. I don't know who Sean talks to, but just go to Carlos Silva. Carlos, did you sign Jordan Grace or Tessa Blanchard? I don't know. I don't know who he signed around here. I just got here yesterday. What are you talking about?
That'd be funny. He's like, I just got here yesterday. Getting out of his car.
Tommy Dreamer feigning. I have no idea who he signed.
Oh, Tom. Just gonna take a drink of my.
No comment.
I was gonna shut my mouth.
Tim Morris, like, I don't work there anymore. What are you messaging me for? Like, sorry, have it.
It's been 8 months. What are we doing?
It's been gone since earlier this year. I'm not there. No, sorry. My bad. Who do you message? Gail Kim?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that Gail wouldn't know. Gail, like, that's her area.
Knockouts division producer.
Gail's like, no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Tommy. Tommy's like, I don't know, too many chair shots to the head. Got to go do my show now. That's
like,
Bully.
Oh God.
Let
Bully
me
doesn't work
tell you
there.
why it's the best signing TNA could do.
Bully doesn't work there.
No, but he'll tell you why it's a good idea on Monday's Busted Open.
He'll give you a 20-minute tangent about it.
This company can't explain JBL because JBL can't be asked to show up for a television taping. So, like, what? That's been since August. Okay, I'm done.
August? Really?
Yeah, that started at Emergence. Every friggin' month, JBL shows up and gets involved. And they don't have him show up for the TV tapings. So he has done shit all in terms of explaining why he shows up to Nemeth, to his aid. And like, they don't do anything with it. And it's been since August.
That kind of rules that he's been doing it for this long. Honestly, I got no choice but to respect it.
Like, I don't cover MLW. We talk to MLW talent, but like, does Jable show up for the TV tapings in MLW? Or is it only the live events?
I feel like it's only the live events.
Well, they tape their TV with their live events.
But so does TNA sometimes. But like, my point being, does he show up when it's their regular TV show?
They don't have a regular TV show, Joel.
They do. They produce a television show.
No, they don't.
What's the thing on YouTube that's not the specials? The Be in Sports stuff.
All they do is specials. I mean, maybe they produce a television show for Be in Sports, but nobody watches that. Literally, what they do is they have their live specials, and then they tape matches that act as another YouTube special that is taped. Like, they have this show coming up. Literally, just got an email about this. MLW Holiday Rush Christmas Eve special streaming free on YouTube. That
was taped, at Melrose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what they do. They just tape like basically two specials. One airs live. One is just a special that airs like 2 weeks later.
Because it used to be they would do their event and then they would tape matches that would be for TV, but they don't do TV.
No,
anymore.
They don't do that anymore. It's just nothing but specials. So does JBL. JBL hasn't showed up there since the last. He wasn't at the last one because Eric Bischoff ran that show. I think the show prior to the Bischoff show is what he was.
Yeah, because he helped.
Maybe him and Bischoff are working together.
Oh Christ! I love the reporting with the Tessa stuff that like allegedly she wanted to work CMLL and TNA at the same time, and I'm like, who? They don't work together. Like they work with the competition exclusively. What are we trying for here?
JBL for ROH. Do you want me to just go cry in a corner?
Matt
They need
Cardona,
big stars. They need top
Yeah.
stars. JBL,
Yeah.
WWE Hall of Famer.
he's going to cost Matt Cardona the world title. JBL is going to be part of the learning tree. John
That's good.
John Bradshaw learning tree.
Hell yeah, that rules. We need that.
No.
What do you mean no? This is great.
Great for who?
JBL. For
Us
the
mostly,
5
our
people
brand.
who watch the show.
Yeah, our brand.
I'll tune in for that.
Oh, that's what he'll tune in for. But remember, according to Jeremy, Ring of Honor TV doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
It's currently a streaming service that doesn't really operate.
Yeah.
They had weeks where they forgot to press play on the live stream.
Yeah, that
This
rules
is
it.
true. Billy Starks just forgot. It's okay. She had a rough
Yeah.
night yesterday. Very rough night yesterday.
Oh, bless Billy. She's getting her title shot. Hopefully they put the
Should be
title
the
on
main
her.
event. That should be the main event. That should be the match that goes on last. The big
I think it will.
coronation of Billy.
That
I
will
think so.
go on last.
It should be for a company that has spent the entire 2 years putting their chips behind Athena and Billy Starks and the Minion Show. That's got to be it. That has been the main event in my eyes since last year.
I agree.
Okay. Here's a real pitch for you guys.
Oh no.
Chris Jericho, Matt Cardona, ROH, final battle. Effie helps Matt Cardona win the title. And we get a GCW ROH invasion. Think about the history of ROH. What was some of the hottest stuff? ROH, CZW. That was some of the hottest stuff that they did. We had Samoa Joe coming in the cage of, I forgot what they call that thing, but he came in there. It's Team ROH, Team CZW. That stuff rolled. That's what we need here. GCW, ROH, at war, invasion.
So when would that show would that be the Hammerstein show in January, or would you push it to Vegas?
Oh no, you can get months out of this. You kidding me? You can get so much mileage out of a GCW ROH invasion. You can do Hammerstein, run Hammerstein months down the road. You can run bigger than Hammerstein. You can run MSG, baby.
Oh, that'd be great. Running MSG. Let's see that. I love them. Have you ever done the MSG tour? Those are great.
GCW ROH at the Collective. There you go. That's big time right there.
That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Ten Rizzo sent to
You
Super
can run
Chat.
Allegiant.
Oh, hell yeah. Fill that stadium. Let's go. Ten Rizzo said, give ROH to Will Washington. For Reg, I want ROH to do so well. I want it to be super special indie spot to do and it to do stuff like with Rev Pro. Yeah, I mean, there was a time when ROH had more of a footprint. I don't know if giving it to Will Washington is the answer. Give it to Chris Hero. Give it to someone like that.
Give it to me.
Mm,
What's
I'm
your big
available.
idea, Kimmy? I've given you a top tier idea here. Go ahead. How are you saving ROH?
By having a split roster, by having my champions actually appear. Storylines? Do we know what storylines are?
The story. You can't say just storylines. I'm out here giving you concrete stuff. You gotta come correct on this show with actual ideas.
I didn't come prepared.
Oh,
we can see that.
yeah.
Yeah, we can see that.
Even
Yeah.
Will's got an idea. Let's put the ROH title on the Rock. At least
Get
he's
the
got ideas
mana?
out here.
Yeah, get the mana going. Let's go. Oh, I didn't mean
Mana.
Okay, all right.
It is so early to be drinking alcohol.
I was gonna say it is Friday.
And here we go.
Oh my god.
Damn, that's good shit.
Damn, that's good shit. It's my favorite. Welcome to Fridays, baby. Put it on the Rock. Put the Ring of Honor World and Television titles on the Rock.
Hell yeah.
And the People's title now becomes a Ring of Honor title as well.
Rock of Honor.
Rock of
Oh,
Honor.
Big Bang Dog's got it as well. Yeah, Rock of Honor, baby. Let's go.
Oh, and he pays for Rock of Ages to be the theme song for Rock of Honor.
I'm gonna mix Terramana with coffee. That sounds terrible.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Man, coffee's my chaser for this Terramana.
God dang it. How are you drinking that coffee?
How? A lot of creamer.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that's going to curdle up real nice
a
for
lot
you.
of creamer. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Anyway, the Tessa stuff will be ongoing. We'll have more on FightfulSelect.com. I'm sure of it. If she shows up tonight at Final Resolution, doesn't mean I'm doing a post show. It just means I'm going to scream at the wall.
I'm gonna
should do
text
a-
you
you should-
first.
Do you
We
have
should-
my number? Please don't.
I know,
should
I'm gonna
crack
DM
it.
you on Blue Sky. I'm gonna be
Oh,
like,
that's-
sir.
You should crash the SmackDown post show and just like cry and see what happens.
That's a great idea. I actually would do that. Oh, I would absolutely do that.
Do you have anything else to add, Kimmy? We have a show to do, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Wow. Fine. Goodbye. Thanks for
Bye,
not
Kimmy.
having me.
Aren't you
Joel,
retiring?
I am retiring.
I'm trying to get you to do the show full time. You're retiring though.
Joel also wants me to take his spot, but I feel like Joel does such a better job than me.
Allegedly.
Yeah, but Joel wants to leave, so
Why do you
Joel
want
doesn't
to
want to
leave?
I didn't say I wanted to leave. I just know that there are other things out there for me. Somewhere out there
nah.
where dreams come
Probably not.
true.
Not singing, that's for sure.
Not right now, I can tell you that much. I can't sing with the jam with my throat feeling this way.
Jeremy is a better singer than Joel. Joel's probably going to cry later, and Ring of Honor's dead. Thanks for having me on In the Lead and letting me crash. And maybe I'll be back. Maybe you know what we should do next week on next Friday's show. I'm gonna pitch an idea for you.
All right, good. I like this.
Good. Okay, so next Friday's Final Battle, and you guys
Allegedly.
have a show in the morning, so we should talk Final Battle in the morning.
Okay, here's a better idea. You crash coexisting with Rob and Maggie because they'll be on later and closer to Final Battle, and then you can preview Final Battle with them.
Okay. but I
Wow,
have-
Joel. Joel trying to hold down talent on this show, clearly.
Oh, I'm trying to pass the talent around.
But I have this link.
That shit got me. Thanks, sinners.
You know what?
Your pilot, Mike.
The pilot of this show. Goodbye, people,
Bye, Kimmy.
humans.
Just land the ship. Just land the ship, Kimmy. Just land the ship.
Lands itself, right? Autopilot.
I don't know if it lands itself. I think it takes a little bit more than just letting it do it.
Eh,
I'm sure AI will land the ship
who's
for
to
you.
say? Who's to say?
10-4, Kimmy. Breaker, making our way down to our ascent, 30,000 feet.
My
Oh.
dad worked in construction and he's like a foreman. And I always get on his walkie talkies, just tell everybody 10-4 when I was a kid. Pretty sure they could not stand me. They're like, this fucking punk kid telling us 10-4. I hate this kid. Whatever. That was my childhood, just telling 10-4 to people. Had no idea what it meant, why I said it. Just saying it to them.
Oh my God. Fantastic. All right. Where are we?
We're not 45 minutes in, so we can't talk about Toni Storm.
Cannot talk about Toni Storm. We gotta
Can't
talk
about Toni Storm.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Have you left a thumbs up yet? Go ahead, leave a thumbs up. We can talk about Toni Storm. Toni Storm made a return at Winter is Coming this past Wednesday night. Not timeless Toni Storm. She came back as her original rock and roll self. She was surprised. At least she played surprised that she got such a good reaction. This is right after Mariah May had defeated Mina Shirakawa to retain her women's championship. In a pretty solid match main event. They did the overrun and the whole gimmick. And yeah, Toni's back. Now, in the moment, I was kind of like, oh boy, I'm a little nervous that we have 3 months until Australia. And you and I talked on the show about how do you play out the All-In build and how that was a few extra weeks of just pull apart brawls and calling people bitch. And it didn't need to be as long as it was. I've come around to the idea that this could actually be a pretty solid 3 months because you have an addition and you have additional story to tell. And that is Thunder Rosa. It feels like the World's End match for the women's title will be Thunder Rosa and Mariah May. And it's a bit of a filler match. It is what it is. But Thunder Rosa sitting at ringside, she's doing her whole gimmick and she's putting up the signs and feel how you will about that. I didn't love it, but whatever. She's clearly putting herself in contention for the Women's World Championship. And then Toni's just now returning. Also, I'll give you another one, Jeremy. Remember there was a tag team at one point called Thunderstorm. Feels like we might see a little.
Nobody remembers this.
People remember Thunderstorm. They remember the t-shirts.
Did they have a t-shirt?
They had a t-shirt. But I feel like you'll see a little bit of that play out as well. Because again, you have a good amount of time to tell those stories. And I do think that when we get to Australia, you will definitely see the return of Timeless Toni Storm, and that will be when she captures the Women's World Championship from Mariah May.
I think Toni Storm's going insane in the best way, and that is why she came back as this rocker Toni Storm, outcast Toni Storm, whatever you want to call her here. And she is now. This is her latest role. She's going back to the original, right? This is the sequel to the original. This is just the latest role for Toni Storm. I feel like somebody in our chat said, "What if she's time loop Toni Storm?"
Oh, that's a good one.
Maybe, yeah. She might be time cop. Maybe this is how Tony Khan does time cop. Maybe that's why her return match was on Rampage, because they had to make her time loop, time cop Toni Storm. That's a higher level of thinking that no one's getting, and people are all of a sudden mad about. Ryan, we just explained it. She is the new time cop. And that is why she had to be on Rampage, because it is a time cop tie-in.
Time cop, timeless Toni Storm. It works.
Yeah.
Get the t-shirts. Time loop, time cop, timeless Toni Storm. Use all the alliteration you can. I like it. But also, she's got to face Shaz McKenzie tonight, so there's that.
That's not true.
That's a later match
out there? Yeah.
Oh, who keeps putting out that fake information?
Deonna Purrazzo is facing Shaz McKenzie.
Oh, it's more fun when actually, let's talk about Saturday then. But anyway,
Toni Storm is facing Harley Cameron tonight.
Right. Well, then there's also the Saturday show that was not important. Yes.
No spoilers.
Well, anyway, let's move on then, because here we are. But yeah, Toni coming out doing the classic gimmick. It felt also a little bit like she's trying to throw Mariah May off her game, because Mariah May started cosplaying as Toni for a while, and that was how she got Toni's attention. So how do you get Mariah May's attention? Maybe cosplay as her, but you go back to what got you on Toni Storm's radar, the original. She's the OG. I think that's the start of the return, and then we move on. I think that they might do a match. I think they might do a Mariah May Toni Storm, this version of Toni Storm match, and then get to Australia to do the actual timeless match. That's where I'm at. Maybe they want a finish. Maybe Mariah beats the OG Toni Storm and causes her to go crazy. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do it one more time.
We shall see.
We shall. Tenruz is saying TK making Rampage incredible on the way out. And they keep doing, like, people are talking about this. Like, Rampage keeps having these really solid matches and really fun cards. And it's like, yeah, now you care. But other than that, it's just kind of there. But it's good to see Toni back. I'm excuse me. Woo, I took too deep of a breath there. I'm hopeful that the next 3 months leading into Australia is well told, and that we're not just kind of resting on laurels and pull apart brawls, but instead we actually have more story to tell. And because it is, RJ City was doing a lot of the work for the last run of Mariah versus Toni, I hope that he's at the reins for this one as well, and we get a little bit of storytelling from those two in very different formats.
People saying you need viewers to watch Rampage, so they're trying to sell Rampage. I think Rampage bloom is off the rose. Like, it's done at the end of the year. Tony's tried to load up Tony Khan with the Continental Classic last week, putting Toni Storm's return match this week. It's done, though. Like, you can't save what is completely underwater and just, it's a done show at the end of the year. And it showed last week. Like, people have already tuned out. They're not just going to randomly tune in because, now you want to give us good matches. Like, no, their viewing habits already been decided when it comes to this. So trying to boost it for an extra, 500 viewers, if that, just ain't gonna work. It's not really gonna save it. You're better off just putting your good stuff on Collision and on Dynamite, because it's not going to. Rampage is. It's not worth it at this point. It's not. And whatever they do, kind of what Shottown Spurs, it's not only perceived as bad. Like, I don't think it's good that Toni Storm's her return match is on Rampage. Like, I kind of get it. It just feels lesser than. It makes it feel less important because we've been told for years that Rampage is less important. So why would all of a sudden now, just because you're putting on Continental Classic matches and just because you're putting on Toni Storm's return, why now are we going to think like, oh, well, now it's important when it's not going to exist in 3 weeks? It'd be one thing if the show was going to continue to exist and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like maybe they are going to try to put some prestige into Rampage. All right. Yes. Let's actually give it a shot. Let's watch Rampage. You're telling us maybe the show's important again, but it's not going to. Maybe they do find a home for it. Maybe they are able to salvage it, and we'll see on that. My issue is less that it's on Rampage, which it's an issue, but my issue is like you don't promote Rampage. You have no promotion for Rampage outside of online. This is Toni Storm's big return. You're basically doing it with no promotion because one, it was taped. So I don't feel too strongly about like taped versus live. It's whatever. But like the result was out there, an hour after Dynamite went off the air, right? So you're getting 2 days promotion online, and that's it, because you don't have another television show before Rampage. At least if you put it on Collision, you can promote it on Rampage. Or if you put it on the following Dynamite, you can promote it on Rampage and Collision and a week's worth of online promotion. You're getting 2 days of promotion when the result is already out there as well. So that's my bigger issue, is not that it's on Rampage. You want to put it on Rampage next week, I still don't love it, but at least then you've got one episode of Rampage, an episode of Collision, an episode of Dynamite, where you are promoting the hell out of Toni Storm's return on Rampage and saying, oh, okay, let's tune in. Rampage, this is important. Toni Storm's returning. It's way more of like, we're just going to do it 5 minutes live television after she returns, and then it's on Rampage. That's my bigger issue. Not so much that it's on Rampage, although that's an issue, but more that it's on Rampage week of with absolutely no promotion.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. I have nothing to add because you hit it right on the head. Ten Rizza also asking us, will we do a world tour down here in Australia? Saying we should.
Like us?
Yeah, you and I. You want to go?
Oh, all right. Sure.
Is Ten Rizza paying?
I guess so. He's the one who's asking about it, so it's got to be.
Let's check the old Sky Scanner. Let's see. We're going to go from Toronto to Sydney, Australia for Grand Slam. That's the 18th, right? February. Well, let's just say it is. So we come in on the 17th and we'll leave on the Wednesday, the 19th. Let's go an extra day. We'll stay until the 20th. It's really nice in that area.
Yeah.
This is just my ticket. Let's take a look. I've been to Australia, by the way. I loved my time in Australia, and I love my time in New Zealand as well. It's also summer there right now, so we'd be there. It'd be nice and hot. I realized that I'd have to go from Sydney to Brisbane after that, but we'll figure it out. Okay. 1684 return. I got to do stopover in Vancouver. Both ways back. I could do it. Let's do it. You want to go?
Sure. I've never been to Australia. Sounds fun.
3,000. Oh, actually, I lied. It's actually
Pricey?
2 stops.
No.
We have to go to LAX and what's NAN? What's NAN airport? Nandi?
Nando's?
What's Nandi? Is that India?
What is this?
Oh, it's Fiji. Let's go. We're just figuring out how we can go to Australia.
Oh, okay.
For a few days.
Okay.
I think that'd be fun. Like I said, I love my time in Australia. I'd go back. But yeah, with Toni being on Rampage, I think you hit the nail on the head. It could have been better promoted. It could have been better done. And we'll see how that all kind of plays out. And then Tenru's also added on, is Shockwave going to be announced for a final Rampage or World's End? I mean, it's possible. The Shockwave, no one's really updated it other than the NWA.
NWA Shockwave?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So other than that, that's the only Shockwave we know of existing right now.
Okay. I don't know that existed, so.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Yeah, people need that into a meme. Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay.
Did you know that the NWA did it? Anyway. Yeah.
If the NWA ain't doing cocaine, I'm not paying attention.
That's fair. Although they're currently airing the San Juan whatever, Sam whatever. That show that they call the dangerous one, they're currently airing that one right now. because I listened to the Fightful Weekender podcast.
Yeah, Stephen Jensen, bless him.
He's got to deal with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Will Chisholm sent a super chat saying, if they're bringing Tessa to replace Jordan when she goes to WWE, I hope not. Please, TNA, don't go full TNA. We talked about it at the top of the show. Sean's going to have more on Select. He has kind of made reference to his conversations so far, but he'll have more on Select today about whether or not Tessa's coming in and what that looks like. As of right now, Wrestling Observer is reporting that Tessa is signed, going back to TNA, possibly returning as early as tonight at Final Resolution for TNA or at the TV tapings the next night. Okay, we'll see where it goes, but I've given my feelings. We did it at the top of the show, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, we talked about it. Rewind the show.
Yeah, rewind the show, catch it from there, listen on 2x speed. That's the best way to deal with us. Where else? Where else do you want to go for Dynamite? What really stood out to you from the show other than the return of Toni Storm? C2 is on the move. Things are actually happening in terms of the points department. I do like that you've got... This is where the tie conversation becomes a little more important, because instead of having, 3 points or 6 points or 9 points, you've got two competitors who have an even amount of points. And that's, we've got that with Garcia and Okada. So there is an opportunity there for one of those two men to go on a tear and kind of maybe walk away ahead if someone like Kyle Fletcher, for example, stumbles and leaves it open for someone to win by 1 point. I like that that's a little story that they're working on, and the rest of the field is starting to either catch up or kind of prove their points as being just part of the C2. What do you think of what's going on so far? And I guess Ricochet is the first person we should talk about.
Why are we talking about Ricochet?
Shy Ricochet.
He gave a Jadakiss laugh. I thought that's what he was going for. Yeah.
A lot of people feel a lot of different ways about that.
Yeah, I thought he was going for a Jadakiss laugh. I don't know how it worked. He's being a dickhead heel. This is what he's been doing this in media interviews too. I don't have many thoughts on it other than if you hated it, that was probably the point. If you thought it was bad, that's a different issue. I didn't think it was bad. He was playing a little dickhead. He did it pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not against it. I just thought it's something that people have been talking about. The match with Brody King was also very well done. It had a lot of just good, solid Brody King, catching Ricochet out of midair type of spots. And the match itself, again, was really good. Ricochet does get the pin. Brody King suffers a loss. People were in their feels about that one. But Ricochet's starting to show a little more character in AEW. Not that he wasn't before, but my point is he came in as that Ricochet that you knew, and now he's starting to give you a little bit more to a character in AEW, and I'm appreciating that. There's something going on with Ricochet, and I think that's really good stuff.
What's going on with him is he's a little jerk, and he's making Renee Paquette uncomfortable with his laugh.
Shy Ronnie.
Was he Shy Ronnie? Is that...
Speak up.
That's a good song. I legitimately thought he was going for Jadakiss.
That's fair. The first thing I thought of was Shy, because it's just
yeah, fair.
Oh, stupid, but I love it.
I thought Dynamite overall was good. I think they're on a run of great shows, over 1 million viewers and a strong number in the demo.
That's Thursday. Thank you. That's Thursday's show, not mine.
I thought it was a good show. I think since the Continental Classic, it's been good shows because they've been able to just kind of focus on wrestling matches and telling stories around wrestling matches, where I think they're at their best. I actually think the world title stuff is kind of their weakest stuff right now, because I'm not thrilled with how it's sort of playing out. Not that it's bad how it's playing out, but it's a little disjointed for me of how it's playing out. But the Continental Classic stuff is really good. I'm glad Mariah and Mina got the main event. Toni Storm's return, we talked about, was good. They could make improvements elsewhere. I wish we had some type of presence of Swerve and the Hurt Syndicate on this show, and we didn't, especially Swerve coming off the squash of Max Caster last week. I would have probably done a little bit more to highlight Swerve on this show. And, the Hurt Syndicate, I think they should be at least some type of presence on the show weekly. But you can't get everybody on the show every single week, especially with the talent roster they have, especially with the C2 going on as well. So I get it, but overall that was a good show.
Yeah, I think what you're saying with the C2, it takes away from the ability to tell multiple stories involving some of those talent that aren't involved directly in the C2. Shelton's in the C2, but he's not wrestling this week. Like, he wasn't wrestling on Dynamite. So there was no use to having the other guy show up and run an angle. But again, like, you can make the argument that you should be showcasing Lashley, Swerve, what's going on there. Did they show the Allin Texas stuff on the main feed as well? The promotional stuff?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Because I know that I watch it on Triller, so I don't know if that was just like extra for Triller, but no, if they showed it on the TBS feed, at least they got that out there, because there was a little face-to-face with Swerve and Lashley at that event. So like they're not ignoring it, but they're certainly not promoting it as something immediately happening on the show. But talk about the world title situation. So Fatal 4-Way was announced. Moxley laid down the gauntlet. It wasn't anyone else. He said he's going to do it. He said he's going to put down the egos effectively, and it's going to be Hangman Adam Page, Orange Cassidy, and Switchblade Jay White, and Moxley going for the world title. You got a story going on where Orange Cassidy said, "I don't care who the champion is as long as it's not you." You got Hangman Page saying, "I don't know why, but I want that title back." And then you've got Jay White, who basically is wanting a title.
Jay White should tell all these dudes to kick rocks.
Yeah.
Jay White should tell Hangman, "Fuck off, I've beaten you twice." He should tell Orange Cassidy, "Fuck off, you lost your last championship match." John Moxley, if you're real about this, you'll fight me one-on-one. If I'm Jay White, I'm upset that these dudes are inserting themselves into this when they got nothing to do with it. If it's Jay White, John Moxley, I get why he wants to face all three. Like, people are like, "Oh, why would he put himself at this disadvantage?" John Moxley, the story is he is trying to uplift AEW in his own screwed up way. And so, he's saying, "Oh, all these guys care about is their egos." Well, I'm going to put these egos down, but I'm going to prove to you that this is also, they only care about their egos, because they're not going to be able to put any type of differences aside to save this company. They're going to instead eat each other, and then I'm going to be there to pick the carcasses. So it makes sense why John Moxley's issuing the challenge. Again, if I'm Jay White, I'm like, "No, get out of here, dorks. I've earned this title shot. You haven't done anything."
Yeah, it really does feel like Orange Cassidy's going to spend the bulk of the match going after Moxley. And then you've got Hangman and Jay White. They're going to go after each other. I wonder if anyone else gets involved in this match. I hope not. I hope it's just Mox, like you said, Mox picks the bones. Mox takes advantage of what's going on. And then at the end of this, honestly, I hope that Jay White comes close to winning, to the point where he says, "I deserve a one-on-one match," and he wins his way, maybe wins a couple more. I don't know how they get there, but they get there, that maybe it is Jay White and Moxley at Grand Slam in Australia, because again, he's a Kiwi, he's not an Australian, but he's at least from that general vicinity as Jay White. So you can have a good match with Jay White and Moxley one-on-one. That's, high stakes world title and one-on-one. So how they get there is up to them, but you could have Jay say, "That was unfair. Like, that was bullshit. I deserve to be the number one contender because I won the matches." And then have the other guys just say, "Whatever." Orange Cassidy be like, "All right, whatever, you win. go do whatever. I'm not a leader." And then Hangman's the wild card in this. And everything always comes back to Hangman at this point, because he is one of the better defined characters, especially in the state of confusion we have with him, where like there's a story in there where Hangman Page could win the title and reluctantly and begrudgingly, quote, save AEW from the Death Riders. And then he's got to deal with the consequences of being the unwanted hero. And then it all goes back to Swerve and we just start all over again, or however you do it. That's maybe part of the story, is maybe Hangman's redemption is in inadvertently saving, quote unquote, AEW from the Death Riders. I don't know if it happens as early as World's End, but like down the line. And you've also got Darby does his backstage, gives his backstage comments, punches
beat the shit out of himself.
That's just listen, if it's not going to be a bus and it's not going to be a mountain in the middle of nowhere, then it's going to be his own fist. That's just
Darby's insane.
But it also feels like they're putting the emphasis on Darby being the savior, being the guy who comes back, literally climbs a mountain, comes back down, and then saves the company. That's kind of feels like what they're trying to do, is put so much behind the doing the Everest climb. And if he's successful, that's a huge thing, first of all, because that's a huge personal feat to accomplish. And then hopefully he can come back, soon enough after he returns, which it's not like a 2-week grind. Like it's a couple months to do this climb. It's not an easy task, but it's a big task. So if he does, it's 3 months. If he does it and comes back in time for, I don't know, it would have to be double or nothing at that point, because if he's doing it in April, double or nothing's May.
Yeah, he might be back for Allin. Like that might be.
Sure.
That's July. So
all in Texas is going to be Darby and Mox. That's a long time to go and do this. You gotta have a big plan that doesn't make it feel like Darby's the only possible guy who can take the title from Moxley. And you also have to tell the story a little bit better than, you shouldn't see this title because you're all a bunch of egomaniacal assholes.
I didn't love Darby's promo because it's still too much of we're trying to babyface and heal the company. Darby being like, the Continental Classic is what AEW is all about. Guys competing and uplifting and, showing their heart and their soul. It's like, there's a title on the line for this thing, right? Do we remember that this exists?
Well, no, you're not supposed to, because it's been locked away in this case for so long.
No, the Continental title.
Oh, the Continental. Sorry, you're talking about the Moxley title. Yeah, well, the Continental title is equally less important because it hasn't really been the focal point of AEW since before Okada won it.
Like Darby just being like, "Oh, AEW, it's all about just having these great matches and everything." It's like there's a little truth to that, but like the wins and the losses in this title should matter to some extent. He tried to put over at least the winning portion, but like the title, Darby didn't seem to care at all about. He was more concerned about like heart and soul of AEW, Continental Classic. This is the real AEW. And then when he's like, without AEW, Jon Moxley wouldn't have had a second lease on life. Jon Moxley wouldn't have been able to reinvent his career. AEW saved his career, type of thing. Like, I don't know, man. Jon Moxley seemed like he would have just gone to New Japan, probably killed it there, and then been fine, and eventually WWE would have welcomed him back. So
yeah, let's not forget, Moxley made the decision to leave WWE while WWE had some sort of plans for him. Good or bad, doesn't matter. He was still going to survive and make a lot of money, even if he had stayed. He would have been miserable creatively for the time, but like he wouldn't have been destitute.
Yeah, like I don't think you need to. This is a complaint I've had about AEW. It's like, don't babyface and heal the company so much. There are titles that you can speak about that can play those roles of trying to more or less babyface and heal the company. Like if Darby should just talk about the title of how Jon Moxley is disrespecting the title. Talk about that, not so much the company and how it saved Jon Moxley and everything. Harken on the history of Jon Moxley with the title. Of saying like, you used to want this title. You used to want to represent. You used to be everything this title was about. You were the heart and soul of AEW when you held the title. What happened to you? That, harken back to that history that we saw on screen. Not AEW saved you and you got a second lease on life. You should thank AEW and Tony Khan. No, talk about the title. Make it about that.
The problem is if you bring up what happened to you? You were all about the title. You were the heart and soul. What changed? That opens up Jon Moxley to be like, CM Punk. And then we go back to the ringer with that.
I rewatched that promo, the Punk and Moxley, the heart and soul, dollars and cents.
Yeah.
Promo. Man, say what you will about old Phil. There was a specialness in the AEW when he was on that mic and when he had a worthy opponent like a Jon Moxley or an Eddie Kingston, where they would just go back and forth and you weren't quite sure what you were getting out of it. And it kind of ruled. And we don't see that as much nowadays. And it's no knock on anybody in the company. It just doesn't feel like we've got those face-to-face promos anymore as much anymore. Like those in-ring face-to-face promos between two guys who can really cut each other. I just don't see it as much nowadays.
Well,
that was something special.
You'll see it next week when Adam Cole, Bebe, and MJF face off in a promo battle in the ring. It's not announced yet, but you can assume those two are going to be.
MJF's going to speak. I assume Adam Cole's going to interrupt it.
So that's fine. I do think MJF is going to take the Undisputed Kingdom.
Sure.
I just think so. I know people are done with this, and so am I. But like, Kyle O'Reilly didn't want to shake Adam Cole's hand after the match. He's upset that Roddy Strong was caught in this and got quote unquote hurt. It just feels like Adam Cole's gonna get screwed in the because he's the babyface, and MJF is gonna have a brand new group, and then Wardlow's gonna be back, and he's gonna join Adam Cole, and we'll just erase the whole "you win the title and bring it to me" Wardlow story. Maybe not, but I think I'm done with this story as well. Get to the match, do Cole and MJF. Bless, if you're the person well, no, I know, get to the match, do it. And I'm just like, if you're the person who's out there saying, wow, 1 year ago at World's End, Adam Cole revealed himself as the devil to MJF, and now 1 year later, they're going to face each other and the roles are reversed. That's long-term storytelling. I'm like, no, that's limping to the finish of something you wanted to get rid of 6 months ago.
Calling out brain damager right there.
Goddamn right I am. No time for that bullshit. FTR, by the way, speaking of bullshit, they want to be the people at Fight for the Fallen. It's in their hometown, in their home area. It's going to be in Asheville, North Carolina. Someone else, tall guy, Canadian, lives in Asheville now. Maybe there's a trios title run in the old FTR rated FTR, whatever they're going to call themselves. Maybe is that the return of Adam Copeland? They can win it from the Death Riders. Like I said last week, you got to get those trios titles off of the Death Riders to make the focus on the world title of the Death Riders.
Who could possibly care about these trios titles? They don't defend them. They don't defend them. Whenever they have matches, they lose. Dork-ass Pac loses every match. Dork-ass Willer Yuta loses every match. At least Claudio picked up some wins in the Continental Classic. We didn't even care about these things. He's not even part of the group beatdowns. He's just staying in the back because he's so concerned about the Continental Classic. Who cares about these trios titles?
Well, what if someone wins them? Like rated FTR?
Sure.
Let Adam Copeland gets his thing, gets his title. Doesn't have to be jumping off of high cages. You could just go in and have a title match.
I hope he doesn't jump off any high cages. He needs to be good and whole for everything.
Well, the only cage he'll be jumping off of is Christian. Christian and Hook are doing their thing now. What do you think of that whole Hook comes in, got his arm in the cast, beats him up in the suites? Where did he send? Where did Christian Cage send Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian? Early?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like they just left.
It couldn't have been food or coffee because there was food and coffee in the suite. We saw that. So what was Christian asking them to do? Hey, we got to get out of here, but my car's out of gas. Can you go out and siphon some gas from another car?
They all went. He has all these people and they all had to leave him. Like, why?
It's very strange.
That was very weird. That we saw them all sitting up there together during the opening match, and then all of a sudden everybody was gone just so Hook could attack. That was fine. The Hook and Christian feud, I assume we're getting that at World's End because we're getting Hook and Nick Wayne at Hammerstein. So sure.
Yeah, it's fine. I just had to point out the whole why did he send them off and where did they go that they couldn't get from the suite? It was very funny. It was very stupid.
It felt like they were trying to do, remember when Cody broke into the suite and then Jericho also did it with MJF.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It just felt like they were going to that well because it's been a little while. So they're like, let's do this again. I guess the last time we really saw it was literally earlier this year. Garcia and MJF. Well, it was a slightly different take because I don't think Garcia broke through the glass, but he was, going up to the suite where MJF was. So they like doing this sweet shot.
I don't even know if he was in the suite for that. I feel like he was just in the vomitorium, the walkway into the concession area. Because they did the beatdown and he smacked. I remember him sitting next to Daniel Garcia at the stairwell. So I think it was at the
Yeah,
end.
it was like the suite. It was like the box area.
It's a box area.
Yeah, it was sitting there. Yeah.
Either way, it was. But you're right. They've done it before. Is it? What is? What it is?
Yeah,
Chat
Garcia.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Garcia went like up through the stands instead of around into the suite to break the door.
Right. We got a super chat from Chi-Town Spurs saying, shout out to Deanna Perrazzo for wrestling in 2 places at once tonight. CMLL, AEW, ROH card looks pretty fun. Yeah, that's tonight. The CMLL major card is happening. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Love Deanna Perrazzo.
Yeah.
Anything else from Dynamite that's worth mentioning? We had to really bring up. I mean, there was, you got, what's his face? You got Excalibur thrown to the back to private to Leo Rush and Action Andretti and getting Private Party. That was very funny.
Oh yeah.
I was just, what's funny is that I had gotten up to like pack up what I had made for dinner. I was going to put it in the to-go containers. And all of a sudden I hear, let's hear from Action Andretti and Leo Rush. And all of a sudden I'm like, why does that sound like Private Party? and then they did the stupid segment. What do you think? Who's going to be challenging for the tag titles? I mean, if there are spoilers out there, but who would you like to see taking on Private Party?
I guess Leo and Action Andretti.
Do they get to keep the spike jackets on?
Sure.
Wonderful.
All I've been told is these guys are a bunch of losers. I can't pretend to get excited about Top Flight, who never wins, and Leo and Action Andretti, who never wins. Like, cool, you're gonna beat each other. Like, fantastic. I'm not taking you as like some type of strong challenger on here. Like, when were the last time Top Flight won a tag team match on Dynamite or Collision?
Are you looking this up?
Yeah.
I'm actually very curious about this as well.
I guess they would have won. Oh, they lost in the Contender Series to the Outrunners.
Yeah.
So they won a match on Rampage against Beef and JD Drake.
As one does.
They lost in a contendership 3-way. They win some matches on Rampage. So I guess Rampage is supposed to be important. So if you want to put importance on Rampage and beating teams on Rampage, then there you go. Okay, the last time they won on Collision was in July against Shane Taylor Promotions, Anthony Agogo, and Lee Moriarty. All right, so that's July. When was the last time Action Andretti and Leo Rush won a tag team match on?
Oh dear.
I don't even know if they've like teamed up, much less won a match. They lost to House of Black. That was on Rampage. Yeah, they've never won a tag team match.
Oh,
like
wonderful.
2-on-2 tag team match.
Perfect.
So, these are teams I just can't pretend to care about. I just can't.
No, I get it. People want to talk about the Bandito vignettes.
This sucked.
And I just kind of watched it and said, all right, he's doing wrestling moves and he's coming back. Why did it suck to you? Why did you not like it?
Because he's doing wrestling moves.
That's the thing I said. Why does
He's in an OK Corral shootout type thing, and let me hit the 21 plex and all this stuff. No,
pull out
stop
a gun?
it.
Why didn't he
Pull out a gun and shoot
There it is.
somebody.
Yep, there it is. I'm waiting for that. We can only have one murderer at a time, or at least attempted murder.
Nobody's murdering. We need more of the murder.
Well, the problem is he's trying to murder people with wrestling moves.
Like drown somebody in one of those buckets.
It's called a trough. Yes.
Sure. Run over somebody with a horse. I take a sword and chop a head off. I don't care.
It's not a ninja thing. You could do the horse thing, but there's no sword.
Take a shooting star, a badge. I don't care. Like, stop doing wrestling moves. You're in the Wild West. Will Smith didn't go out there and say, let me hit a clothesline. No. He pulled out his gun on Loveless and shot him.
Heidi Loveless? Nope, not going there. We're not doing this. Yeah, it's a thing. Swords in my wrestling westerns.
Imagine Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Walks in to the OK Corral, and Clint Eastwood is like, hold on there. Let me hit you with a spinning forearm right fast. No. He pulled out his gun 10 paces, bang!
What, you don't like the Clint effect? The Eastwood effect?
Clint Eastwood doing suplexes. Kidding me? Shoot some people!
So you want Bandito to start coming to the ring with a gun?
Yeah, he does a fake gun thing. He's like, ah, bang!
It's
No,
true, he
real
does.
gun!
It's true, he does. Maybe No, I don't think Bandito is anti-firearms. I'm pretty sure he's pro, given his situation.
Real guns. Cry me some blood.
Wow, that's a hell of a way to do it.
Dorks doing wrestling moves in the Wild West.
I mean, listen, the Wild West was born out of the use of wrestling moves, right?
No! 10 paces and guns, baby!
Well, speaking of Texas, Cam Hawkins is here. Hello.
Pow, pow, pow. Hey, guys.
We need shootings, Cam, in the Wild West. Not clotheslines and suplexes.
I would love for, like, Jonah Hex to put somebody in a figure four.
Yeah, what? No. Run people over with horses. You know, pull out the gun, shoot people. Take your shot of whiskey, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, doesn't like. I feel like that's like. Did they drink water at any point? I feel like it was whiskey and sarsaparilla. Nobody drank water. They fought over literally everything.
You drank water off screen. Come on.
Yeah,
Real
guys,
men.
if you haven't, not you two, because you guys are learned, well-versed men. If you guys haven't watched Deadwood, like, please watch Deadwood. It is just
Cocksuckers.
yes, and count the F-bombs if you can. But it is such an I don't know if accurate's the word, but like, you know how when people say they could never put slavery in a movie, well, they put slavery in a movie, but they could never show you what it was really like. Because the things that you see, the things that they feel like they can show you, it's always 10 times worse, right? I feel like Deadwood's the most accurate, like, is there hope? Yes. But is everything actually terrible right now? Yes, everything's actually horrible. And it is all just sexism and racism and manifest destiny. It's all the worst things that people can be. But they play a mean violin. That's pretty much what it is. So, yeah.
Don't count the F-bombs. Count the cocksuckers.
Oh, my God. And, like, what is it? Didn't they say, oh, gosh, count the C words.
Yeah.
My God, Hal Swearingen. Oh, my God. Still, like, an all-time defining role. You should also count, like, across media, how many times Timothy Olyphant has played the sheriff.
Oh, he rules, though.
Yeah.
He's so good at playing the sheriff, but he's always the sheriff. Like,
sometimes
justified.
Justified. Hell yeah.
Like, yeah, he's great at the sheriff. He's amazing at it. Absolutely.
Timothy Olyphant's great.
Yeah, man.
So
how are you, Cam?
Yeah.
Man, busy. It has been a week to end all weeks. It's not over just yet, but it's been a really busy week. The book came out, Very Best Wrestlers of 2024. Really enjoyed putting it together. I think that it is a big step up from last year, where it was basically like me just like putting together a bunch of stuff and some very, very good writers. They definitely did their part, but a year further, of course, enlisted the help of my partner, Lauren Moran. Got 6 new writers in there. I thought it came together really, really well. So, you guys definitely check that out. And then just did the Saturday Night's Main Event retrospective for Uncrowned, which is really fun. And I don't know if it's happening or not, but got a Kevin Owens feature that's like done. We have to like check the schedule and logistics, but I had an interview with KO, which was really cool. Broke down his motivations. Absolutely fascinating guy to talk to. I don't know if I've ever talked to somebody so like at peace with where they are. He's had an amazing career that if you are, I guess, more like me and not somebody who really went and watched ROH and PWG in real time, he kind of came out of nowhere and was great immediately, and of course that's him and that's Danielson and maybe AJ Styles, depending on who you are. But KO is maybe the clearest version of already kind of produced and polished into what he was going to be and just excels at whatever they want him to do. We had a really fun moment that's not going to come up, but I was basically formulating him being like this ultimate utility player. And who else comes to mind that's like ultimate utility player? It's, of course, Jericho for so many years, Christian for so many years, Natalya for so many years, in that if I need you to be world champion, you can do that. If I need you to fight for a secondary title, you can do that. If I need you to break in the next guy or gal and make sure they know what they're doing, you can do that. If you got to be funny, you can do that. Like, just kind of play that role. And like, as I'm talking to him, I realize that they're all Canadian. And like, I don't frame the question around that, but then he's kind of like, well, I don't know if that really applies to you being Canadian or not, but I think everybody should strive to be that. So it was really, really fun.
Because we're nice and we're team players. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Chi-Town Spurs asking about Texas football. I don't know, man. It's been a hell of a roller coaster for me the last couple of weeks. I think Quinn should still start. I think they should work Arch in, but the team goes as Quinn goes. But I do not think that Arch is in a position where you can pull him. The reason I answered that question out loud is because, of course, I told Kevin Owens, I said, hey, I'm a Texas football guy through and through. Is your son light on his feet like you are? Because I'm sure somebody's asked him to play football. He was like, yes. Oh, perfect. Hey, guess what, guys? The Kevin Owens thing is happening, but it's happening this afternoon. Let's get this money.
All right. Hey, I've got the thumbnail for you.
What is the thumbnail?
That one right there.
Let's see. I'm looking. Oh, no, listen. I put that in the clip. Of him talking about Cody, because boy, he is fed up with Cody.
As he should be. Let's be honest.
We all are.
Sent it to your Yahoo email. Okay, we just had to do the transcript. Buddy, they're working me like a dog, and I hate it, but I love it. Boy, Christmas is going to be nice in my house.
Imagine
it was really great. Again, he's so talented, and I don't know if anybody else could tell this story in a way that didn't make them seem like crazy conspiracy theorists talking about Cody. Because, like, I asked him, I was like, yeah, so Cody, QB1. He was like, that's the problem. Cody is out here talking about who stitches QB1 on their jacket? Nobody's calling him QB1. And I was like, this is great. I look forward to them having that match. Let's see. I'm dressed because I have to go to the company Christmas party. But like, I literally told my editor, do you need me to take my computer with me to the Christmas party so we can get this done? So yeah, man, we are working. But to bring it all back, boy, am I the old man in the room, because whenever there's like a retrospective, they're asking me to do it. Like, hey Cam, you were there for Saturday night's main event. Want to tell us about the good old days? And I'm like, oh, that's where I am in the hierarchy. But boy, did they, like, looking back on it, I mean, those were glorified house shows, man. That's really what they were. Like, it was an hour-long show, I guess. For a long time, those matches didn't go past 7 minutes. And of course, that's a sign of the time.
Good.
Not a lot of matches went past 7 minutes. But like that first one, I think the total match time was like not even a half hour between all the matches. And shout out to that nerd on Twitter, WWE Match Times. Boy, are you the biggest geek I've ever met. And it's not even a knock, because again, that's valuable to somebody, right? That's like information that could easily be like manipulated to where if you hate WWE, you'll boost that up. But like, yeah, those things are short, and it's crazy. Outside of that one kind of Andre title change-ish, the only show with a title change in that initial run was the very last one, where Shawn Michaels wins the IC title, and who wins the tag titles? I think IRS wins the tag titles. I don't know, but like in IRS, the only person who was on the first and final show, some kind of way, like that crazy rotunda longevity, right? And then that second run, boy, were those some stinkers. They just existed to exist, you know. It's wild how much things changed from like, they're doing a 0.8 rating, and again, TV times are different, but then now they're down to like a 1.5 and a point and a 2, and yeah, that second run, they did not have their hearts in it, but they got a chance, man. Like, I think what I kind of framed it around was with a lot of these PLEs going international, it's a chance for them to have an established PLE that's for the States in Saturday night's main event, where they're doing a lot of outsourcing. And I think that's great. But I think that like people literally hit me like, Cam, are you going to Saturday night's main event in San Antonio? I'm like, I'm not even thinking of it like it's a big thing. I'm like, guys, it's the week before the Royal Rumble. Like, they're not going to do shit. And they might, but people are very, very excited about it and like want to go, want to experience it. So, hey, we'll see. I think one title has to change hands this weekend.
Yeah, Kevin
At
Owens.
least one has to, for it to be a thing.
Well, you
a show that is considered worthwhile going forward. Even if nothing happens on the next one, something has to happen on this one, I think.
well, something will happen. You're going to have the inaugural Women's United States Champion crowned.
I'm so happy for them, but god damn it. You guys know how hard I fought against more belts. I don't want more belts.
Can I
need
just
more belts? But look, as somebody who's like, we don't need any more belts, looking at where Chelsea Green is, even if it's not her, looking at somebody who's busted their ass and is like not the focal point of a thing, but helps to drive a show with the things that they do. I mean, that's what an IC title is. That's what a US title is. That's what a TV title is. I'd love to see Mia Yim break through. It would definitely be an interesting position for Tiffany Stratton, but like in Bayley, like even if they go with somebody new, that's great. If you go with Bayley, you've literally established like a hierarchy with the title where somebody who's established can go on and defend that. Whoever beats them, it matters, So, man, I fight against things till they happen, and when they happen, I'm like, okay, it's here. Let's find the good parts of it. Boy, I mean, I'd love to wait till tonight to say who I got. Man, I think that I'd love to see Chelsea Green win it. I really would.
That's fair. My pushback, by the way, on the, would you go to Saturday night's main event in Texas is saying nothing's going to happen, but this is the pushback. Because of all these titles and because WWE has made the TV going into a PLE a bigger deal, it does make a show like Saturday night's main event a week before the Rumble showcase some of the titles that won't be on the Rumble, whether that's tag title, a women's intercontinental or US championship. Like they will take some of those title matches that would have been for the Rumble and instead put them on a Saturday night's main event. So I wouldn't say it'll be a nothing show, but I think it'll be seen as like the pre-show or the lead-in to the Royal Rumble instead of something bigger.
They're doing, I think, Monday Night Raws in San Antonio, and then SmackDowns in Austin, and then Saturday night's main event is back in San Antonio. Please go to hell, WWE. How much money do you think I had? Because listen, there ain't enough emails you can send to get media passes for 3 shows in a row. It just don't work like that. Like eventually you're gonna break bread. Oh man, it is a lot. But again, these are not bad problems, right? So
wait a minute, 3 shows in a row. Money in the Bank, they were giving me stuff for 3 shows in a row because it was all weekend.
My goodness, man. And Michael, we need more belts. For who? For what? For why?
I've got breaking news regarding championships, and I don't think people are going to be thrilled about this.
Okay.
The CMLL Women's World Tag Team titles have been vacated due to the departure of Tessa Blanchard.
So
there you go, everybody.
I got a text. Michael, you're good. You're my man. I got a text earlier this morning. I don't know if I'm spoiling anything, but somebody did say that Tessa's going to TNA from what I heard. And hey, listen, man. I think that as the years have gone on, when I say we, I'm not talking about Jeremy or Joel. I mean the IWC as a whole. I think that we do a lot of policing in jurisdictions that aren't ours. I'd be very interested to hear, and I'm probably gonna ask. I'm interested how Tasha Steelz would feel about her being in TNA. I'm interested how AJ Francis feels about her being in TNA. You know what I mean? Like that's more where I stand. And listen, I absolutely feel the way that you think I feel about the situation we know. And I've also met her. And I've also had Black people in media express, their relationships with her that are good. So, I don't run TNA. I'm not in TNA's locker room. I am very, again, I probably will reach out to see how people in that locker room do feel about that, because I think that's the most important thing in this situation. But man, that's a like, even for what it is, for what happened, for what we know, that's a long exile, Jack. That's a long exile. And men in similar situations ain't been exiled as long as she has. It's interesting. I got a buddy on Facebook who was sending me all the pictures of him, Hulk Hogan, and Jimmy Hart this week. Like, that's tight. What you want me to say, man? Congratulations. Nice megaphone. I don't know what you want me to say. So yeah.
It will be interesting with Tessa. I don't know if good, interesting, or bad. Like we talked about it at the open of the show, and it wasn't devil's advocate. It was factual. It seems like she made amends with La Rosa Negra. They posted the photo together and they were smiling, so it seemed like amends were made there. It was more than just La Rosa who that was the main person who was obviously spoken about, but like it seemed like there were other issues going on. Chelsea Green called her out on stuff, and it seemed like there was maybe apologies that weren't told to other people for other things she did. And yeah, how does Sean put this out there? So Sean said that Jordynne Grace didn't want to work with her. How does talent in that locker room feel who might have to work with her? When certainly people of color, but also just women who she, maybe not directly them, but she allegedly bullied, bullied other women.
They seem, not to cut you off, it seems to be an amazingly tight locker room.
Yes. That's one thing everybody talks about TNA is like how close the locker room is. Yeah. Like how do the women in that locker room feel of, this is somebody who bullied our peers in the past. Like, so how do they feel about it, about her coming in? Those are questions that TNA is going to have to answer, and the talent in the locker room, assuming they get asked, will have to answer. And then Tessa's got to show some, amends have been made. That is always one of the biggest things of, okay, it seems like amends were made with La Rosa Negra, but were other people talked to, were other people reached out to, who was, I think Big E said this of when it came to forgiveness of certain people. It's like, yeah, certain people showed that they were willing to better themselves, and it actually took the time to talk to us about things and actually went out and did legwork and groundwork to show that they are a different person. Those comments do not reflect the people that they are. And then other people just continued to be racist and and just gave a hollow apology so they could get back in the Hall of Fame. And that was it. Oh, she has to show that she is changed as a person.
If it's going to work, because like, it's not, I think she's definitely a talent. I don't think she's not, and most people are not, in that top 1% of people who, yeah, your attitude's terrible, but boy, are we about to make some money. That's reserved for so few. And so, you're right. It has to work. Somebody really said, Zeno, really interesting in the chat. I think WWE will keep NXT talent away from her. That can be a tough thing in that this thing that is generating a lot of eyes for us and probably a lot of money for us. What if they don't want you in the fold? What
They
if
also haven't had WWE talent on TNA for the last few months. Like that kind of ended after Bound for Glory.
Yeah, Jordan showing up at the ECW show was sort of the last, and that was, TNA giving somebody to NXT, not the other way around.
It's I've said my piece, but I will say once again, you have a locker room that gets along very well, as we've talked about, and you also have a group of talent that have the ability to break into that next stratosphere. And if your feeling is we're losing Jordan Grace, and then 2 months later we're losing Josh Alexander, this is the person that we think is going to recapture what we lose from those two talents, then I think the person who's scouting and making that decision is not the person who should be making those decisions, because you can be building and you can be using other talent who have absolutely the same, if not better, opportunity to make that company stronger. It's not going to be what it was, in 2005, 2006, even into 2010 when they started doing the Spike TV stuff. They're not. That's fine. It's understood what TNA is today. It has a lot of positives going for it. But every time they get in their own way, it just gets annoying for people who want to support the company. And I've said it myself. Like, I've spent the last 3 years covering TNA for the site, doing the post shows, talking to talent, going to events, doing the work, and just, it's one thing to get slapped in the face. It's another thing to be told too bad, so sad. And like, this is kind of both at the same time. And it's possibly as early as tonight. That's frustrating.
You feel strongly about this, Joel. I love that.
I do, because I've had so many interactions with the people who work there. Positive ones for the most part. I can tell you one person that I do not care for in the TNA world. And like, the only people who know are the people who know. Other than that, like, I really enjoy the talent.
Macklin.
It's Macklin. I hate his guts. worst human in the world. Got it. No, but like, I've done a lot of work wanting to see this company succeed. And that doesn't mean like I'm baby facing this company. It doesn't mean I'm talking them up all the time. No, I'm very even-handed with my criticism of TNA, but I've also gone out of my way to be there for their moments. I went to Vegas for Hard to Kill. I went, to Montreal for Slammiversary. I've been like I said, interviewing talent, talking to talent, trying to keep up so that when we do our post shows, it shows that we give a shit about what TNA is doing, because as a result, TNA and their people give a shit about us. And when they do this, I mean, listen, if and when Sean is given the opportunity to speak to Tessa, I know that there will be some questions about accountability that are asked, because I know that my boss will do that. Can't say the same for everyone, but I also am not working for everyone. So I'm hopeful in that regard that Tessa will have to answer some tough questions if this is her path back to acceptance in mainstream wrestling.
I almost started clapping. You can't see my hands, but they separated. Yeah.
Fuck Steve Macklin. I can't say that anymore because he's also a babyface on the show.
Nah,
so
you
like,
can.
You're right. Fuck that guy. He sucks. You're gonna get a message from him saying like, "What are you talking shit?"
Macklin doesn't watch this show.
Not this show. I've pulled the curtain back before. I've gotten messages from Macklin like after Turning Point, being like, "No post show."
Wow. He's not watching this show.
He ain't watching this show. No, staff and talent listen to our post shows. It's not a secret. Anyway,
guys, I have to run the campus. If anyone is watching and is in the Austin area, we are having a Saturday Night's Main Event watch party at Menchaca Sports Bar in South Austin. You can see that on my socials and stuff. Very Best Wrestlers of 2024, out now via Gumroad. You can find that on my socials. Myself, Laura Moran, Lyric Swinton, Brian Zillum, Caden Lee, let's see, Camry, Krista B, Alex Queen of the Ring. Very, very different diverse group of writers. Thought they all did a really great job. Who was it? Somebody's in that book. Dang, Cody, Will Ospreay, Roxanne Perez, Willow Nightingale, of course, Toni Storm, and Drew McIntyre. I think that my criteria, I think really was right on the nose. The criteria being who I thought was fucking dope in 2024. But I thought they all had strong cases of being considered tops in their industry. So check that out. Yeah, and I guess two things up on Uncrowned today. Yesterday, of course, Saturday night's main event. Today, you'll see a piece on Kevin Owens. Astrobot is dope. Yeah. And yeah, it's been an amazing cap off to an amazing year. I'll be 39 on Sunday, and it's just been an amazing time. I've gotten to do some really cool things, work with some really cool people, and the coolest people I've gotten to talk to week in and week out who indulge me and support the things that I do are, of course, Joel and Jeremy. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
Cam.
You're always
Appreciate
welcome.
Absolutely. Y'all take care, man.
You too, man. Take care of yourself. Fightful Select, we have the Tessa Blanchard stuff updated. It just went up. So if you want it, you can go and get it. Guess who's going to be changing the thumbnail after this show?
Oh God,
I have to at this point.
and you don't have to.
You're right.
I mean, we spent a good amount of time on Toni Storm. We came up with we explained the gimmick for Toni Storm.
That's true. We did. But that being said, I kind of have to do it because, the internet's going to, we got to do angertainment,
Fine.
Whatever. It's fine. It'll be okay. I've got the photo. I just have to do the other thing. Yeah, there's a big write-up. I mean, one other person that we didn't mention was that Speedballs also left TNA. So that's another person that has recently departed TNA. So again, if this is their feeling, is Tessa's the person that is going to bring that feeling back. I don't know if that's the right person, but those are the three people that are big losing TNA. Big, whatever. You get what I'm saying.
Replacing these talents with Tessa Blanchard just seems like a not great idea.
The word is ill-advised on multiple plays. Yeah, oh God. I said this before. Like I made the joke. The former Baron Corbin would have been the right guy to bring in and build. You could work with Indy Hartwell. You can work with Tegan Knox. Nixon Newell. You have people at your disposal. And this is who you decide to bring back. I don't understand it.
I don't think the problem with so many of these moves is these people aren't draws. Like this isn't going to magically get you 100,000 viewers or anything. And this is not specifically on Tessa. This is literally anybody outside of WWE. Like, because we see it in AEW. They bring in Bobby Lashley, Okada, Mercedes, Will Ospreay. They bring in all these people, and it's not like they've boosted viewership in numbers and everything. Like, these are not the wrong moves, by the way. You bring these people, when it comes to the people AEW brought in, you bring these people in 10 times out of 10. But if you're bringing them in on the principle, the basis of, oh, this is going to boost our numbers, it's just not. You bring them in on the basis, the principle of like, this is going to be compelling television. This is going to help us tell better stories. And if you need Tessa Blanchard for that, then your creative ain't that good. If you think Tessa Blanchard is the person who is going to, oh yeah, this is going to be compelling television for us. Because you can't bring them in with the basis of, oh, this is going to boost our numbers. Because one, it's not. It's just not. There aren't that many people out there who are going to boost numbers. There was always the joke when it came to TNA of like, they could bring in literally anybody not named John Cena and they would draw maybe 2 extra people. Because that's what it is when you're below WWE. It doesn't matter how many people you bring in. There aren't that many actual quote unquote needle movers. out there who are going to boost those numbers. So you need to bring people in who are going to tell good stories for you, who are going to be compelling television for you, for your product.
And this, by the way, is why I will not listen to people who shit on AJ Francis, because I get that AJ Francis may not be the best wrestler in the world, but he is entertaining and he goes to bat for the promotions and the companies that he works with. He is deserving of his TV time because he does that magical maximizing of his minutes. He's really good at this. Does he need to be in the world title match on a pay-per-view? No. But can he be? But him being on tonight's show as the main event, yeah, sure, whatever. The way they got into it actually is hilarious because it was him running his mouth as he always does, and he upset Nick Nemeth, who's a hothead. So they get the match. And then you've got Tom Hannafin for the last 2 weeks being like, I can't believe he talked his way into it. Like, he's just completely befuddled. So people like AJ Francis, the creative works because he's a creative person and he gives a shit. So that stuff works. But yeah, no, everything else you're saying is true. Just a couple of things from the Fightful Select report. Again, you can go best $5 in the business. I'm not going to read everything, but just a couple of things worth noting. The decision was from a top person at Anthem, but it was not the new Anthem president, Carlos Silva. He just joined the company. So there was someone high up in Anthem who said that this is what they want to do. And it's been in motion for at least the last 2 weeks. And also this is the one thing that really kind of bugs me, going back to the tight locker room conversation we just had with Cam Hawkins. It's the idea that the news was kept away from the entire roster as of the time of the details emerging, as even many of the staff who were usually in the know. We're told this was done intentionally as there was fear of backlash internally. You cannot do that. That is a Dixie Carter level bullshit. And she got shit.
You know what? I actually respect that because they knew it was such a bad idea that they were going to keep it. Let's party the fuck out of this. I'm for it.
Kayfabe the roster. That part is infuriating. Going back to everything I just said about a tight locker room, who gives a shit, who work hard together. You cannot do that. And if that's
I actually think that rules. It's terrible. You shouldn't do it. If you know it's gonna bring a backlash, but you're like, yeah, let's keep it quiet because we know this is a bad idea, so we're gonna keep it quiet. That's pro wrestling. I got no choice but to respect that aspect.
God dang. And then, of course, there's a belief that maybe Tessa will be on her best behavior because it's a major opportunity.
Sure,
sure. Listen, I'm sure that for the first little while she will. And it's just, oh my God. That line just really, really annoyed me. Jesus.
This is not a situation. Somebody asked, like, who could they bring in that Lab Glass, I guess. Question I have: who can they bring in besides that Jack or Corbin if they could budge a needle? I don't think there's anybody out there. There's not.
They are where they are. They are where they are, and I think TNA.
They're not going to get The Rock.
No, but like this is the whole thing. The idea that your company can still operate very positively. So good example of this is they continue to have good houses. They continue to have a lot of people show up for their television, for their pay-per-views, for their tapings. And that's because the product is good for the live audience. They're doing enough that's filling the houses that they commit to. And I think that's good news for TNA, who for a long time were struggling with 300 seat venues. Now they're doing better. They don't necessarily need to be going in, and UBS is going to be a really interesting situation for them for Slammiversary. I don't know what they expect to bring in that will fill that arena, but I also don't know if they have intention of filling the full arena. This is the same company. I said this in our Discord. This is the same company that ran the Alamo Dome. And what they did was run like a corner of the Alamo Dome just so that they could say they did it. That they've done this before. So like, I think UBS, they'll be happy with 4,000 to 5,000 because that's what they got for Slammiversary last year, and that's what they got for Bound for Glory. So like they're getting those seats filled. I'm just hopeful that they do a little bit more next year. I just don't know what the expectation is in that regard.
The fan base is already so small that by doing something like this, you are actively alienating your already niche fan base. Like that's the other issue with this. Again, she's not someone who boosts viewership, attendance, things like that. She's just not. Again, there aren't those people there. They're not on the free agent market. There are good people who you can hire. Baron Corbin, I think, is a very good hire. I don't think he's going to add 50,000 viewers or anything like that, because as I tweeted this or blue skied it, whatever. I was listening to a Bobby Lashley interview, and he shows up at the Allin ticket sale. It's a big deal for AEW. And he's got people saying, "Oh, I didn't realize you'd signed with AEW. This is cool. It's good to see you here." This happens. Joel, why is your computer yelling at me?
Sorry, I was renaming something and I misstroked.
You should always get your strokes on point. This happens a lot when people leave WWE. Kurt Angle has famously said this. When he went to TNA, people were like, "Did you retire? Like, you're not on WWE anymore? Like, why are you wrestling at right now?" WWE has such a foothold, such a presence, and they appeal to a fan that isn't online all the time. We're in this giant bubble. Maybe it's not so big, but we're in this bubble. We know where everybody is, where everybody's moving, what everybody says, and things like that. There are far more who just watch WWE, who just watch whatever is on the television, who just know of WWE. And when guys leave WWE, they don't think about them anymore. It's like, oh, okay, that person's just off TV. No idea what they did. And they don't care to check up on it because they are just watching the WWE product. They don't care to live online. Bless them. Much better wrestling fans for that.
Yeah.
But this is what happens, though. When people leave WWE, a lot of people don't realize where they go after that. So Baron Corbin, as much as I think Baron Corbin's great, as much as I think Baron Corbin's very entertaining, as much as I think Baron Corbin is a good get for TNA, he doesn't magically give them 50,000 viewers just because he was a WWE name. Chances are the people who know that Baron Corbin is going to be in TNA are already watching TNA. And he might add an extra couple thousand viewers for the first week who are like, "Hey, Baron Corbin's here. That's cool." And the hope is you retain a couple hundred of those viewers and you go from there. But the people who know about Tessa Blanchard are already fans of your product. And the people who know about Tessa Blanchard, you're probably actively running off based on her history. And you shouldn't be trying to do that.
Insane. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how I'm gonna feel going into I said Genesis and January 23rd, and whether or not that would be the last, live post shows. But this is there's gonna be a lot of work to be done between now and then for TNA to keep us interested. Should have put the title on Joe Hendry, man.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different conversation that I've already railed against, of like, boy, you missed the opportunity there. They're going to end up putting this title on Tessa, the first ever 2-time women's world champion.
I mean, she's Fightful Select report she'll come in as a heel, which if she's going to go after Jordan Grace, you have to assume that she would be coming in as a heel. And Mike Santana's going to, oh God, if they do Nemeth and Blanchard, and Texas.
Nemeth is a good example, by the way, of I think he's been very good for TNA.
Yes,
I think he's helped in certain aspects, but he was in WWE for over a decade, and then he went to TNA. He didn't magically boost their numbers to 100,000. Like, we can't even get TNA ratings. We have no idea what they're drawing. They're doing well live event wise, and I think they've done a good job there. I think the Hardys have helped far more.
Huge, yes, easily, yes.
The Hardys are live event draws. They just, maybe they're not television draws anymore. People want to go see the Hardys live, so I think they've helped in that regard. But when it comes to someone like Nemeth, Henry saying, was Nemeth that big in WWE though? He was there for decades. And at least a decade, and a world champion.
Yeah,
and he was consistently on television. Like, if Nick Nemeth was not a big name in WWE, and maybe obviously Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, like maybe he wasn't, but then you can't say, oh, Baron Corbin is going to turn things around, because Baron Corbin wasn't as big as Dolph Ziggler was. But this is my point, is that there just aren't those names out there that WWE is going to let go that are going to help boost any of these companies. Bobby Lashley was a big name in WWE. He didn't magically bring hundreds of thousands of viewers to AEW. I don't think the name change was an issue at all. Because again, I will cite the Bobby Lashley example. Hurt Business, they were fantastic in WWE. Everyone loved them. Again, they didn't magically bring hundreds of thousands of viewers to AEW. This was not the wrong move. I want to continue to stress this, that I would sign Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin 10 out of 10 times. I would put them together 10 out of 10 times. I would make them the Hurt Syndicate. I would do what AEW was doing with them 10 out of 10 times because I think WWE left a lot of meat on the bone. My overall point is that there just aren't these names that even if they leave WWE, even if they were a star in WWE, that if they're gone, they're magically going to lift another promotion. Tessa Blanchard, if their thinking is, oh, she's a star, she's going to boost viewership, she's going to boost attendance, it's the wrong thinking to have. It's the wrong thinking. Your thinking should be your creative and your locker room first. That is where you should look at. Is this person, can we do something with them on television that will enhance them and they will enhance our television show? And are they going to be good to have around the current roster we already have? If your thinking is this is going to magically be our big time into 100,000 viewers, this is magically going to be our they're going to magically going to bring in thousands for the attendance. It can't be that. Yeah, you got to sign stars. But you can't magically think that one person is going to all of a sudden fix any type of attendance or viewership issues because they're not. They're just not.
And going to the TNA stuff, they know where their money comes from. Well, we don't, but they do. And that's the thing. Like, their live event strategy is very simple and it works. The reason why some people sign is because you work 3 days, maybe 4 days a month. And they're busy days, they're intense days, but like that's it. And then you're on TV for those the part of time that they've recorded for, and it works for them. And again, TNA is not a televised first product. They're not a television first product. We have a streaming service, you can watch our shows live, but then other than that, their socials run very smoothly. They have a great presence online, and everything else is that live event that they run. They're your favorite indie. They're there in a different town once a month. They do well. They fill up the venue. That's good for them. And then they happen to have TV because the people who own them own the television station that they send it out to. So it doesn't lose a ton of money. It works for them. They don't need the biggest of the big stars. They just need, like Jeremy, you were saying, the creative to back it up and make it important. Because if you don't, then JBL shows up and clotheslines Nick Nemeth's opponents every month for 6 months. And we sit here holding our packages being like, why? And that sucks. But then you have really good storytelling. Like when you had Speedball with the X Division Championship, or when you had the Mustafa Ali story for the better part of 2024. Stuff like that made TNA so much more fun and so much more engaging and engaged for fans. I get that the Scott departure hurt a lot of fan good feeling and a lot of fan. It didn't service fans, but this is beyond. Again, I keep going back to not telling your locker room. A locker room that everyone says is good. I asked Macklin on camera. I asked him in an interview. I said, like, talk to me about that locker room. And he says, and this was at a time when I think this is when the CM Punk stuff was really like in the news talking about it. And he was just like, we have beef. We talk about it. We squash it. It's done in the building when it happens. That's what he told me. And that's how they do it. That's great. But you can't introduce an unknown element like this and not warn or at least get them prepped for it. It is what it is.
Send a note on the Talent app. Hey guys, we're bringing in Tessa Blanchard. See you tonight for Final Resolution.
Pretty much. Holding our whats? Holding our units, senior nerd. Holding
You said packages.
Did I say
Hold on.
packages?
Yeah, you
Same
said
thing.
packages.
Same
It's
euphemism.
Christmas time. It's
Yeah,
Christmas. We all got
exactly.
packages to hold, right?
Although because Canada Post is on strike, a lot of people haven't received their packages in a while. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
And yeah, Zeno I was saying, you know, Anthem doesn't care, unfortunately. And it's kind of it. Again, go back to the report. Someone high up at Anthem said, I don't give a shit. Bring her back. And I'm curious as to who that is. I wonder if we'll get word as to who that is. And it doesn't matter at this point. It's going to happen, and we're going to bear witness to it.
Watch TNA Final Resolution tonight, or don't. I can't possibly care.
Or don't. I'm going to be watching because it's part of my job. We're not doing a post show, but I'm sure we'll be talking about it during the watch along for the holiday stream on Saturday nights.
No, that sounds
If
terrible.
Sell TNA to Jeff Jarrett, please don't.
No, that would rule. You're kidding me?
He wouldn't tell people anything either.
Well, probably not, but at least it's Jeff Jarrett. He rules.
Speaking of Saturday night's main event, that's on Saturday.
Yes.
What match do you think is going to go on first? Because we've talked about this. It used to be Saturday night's main event was you're taking over for Saturday Night Live, so the first match was the most important match. But this time it's an 8:00 start, right? It's a traditional 2-hour show, prime time. It's a thing. Do you go with the old school presentation, or do you present it like a 2-hour PLE special?
So Cam made an interesting point that I wanted to follow up on and you kind of backed it up a little bit too, of like, how special are these shows going to be? This is a pretty big show. Now this is basically their December PLE, because they don't have a December PLE. The one a month from now is literally a week before the Rumble. So how special of a show is that going to be? You mentioned that, hey, we can probably do some title matches that maybe they reserve for Raw or SmackDown before a PLE or after a PLE. Now we can put them on the Saturday night's main event. I think that's a very good use of Saturday night's main event. Now, it's only going to be 4 times a year. So if you kind of work it around your sort of 4 pay-per-views, you have one before the Rumble, maybe before WrestleMania, since WrestleMania is earlier this year. You have one before SummerSlam, but SummerSlam and Rumble are now 2 nights. So, or SummerSlam and WrestleMania are 2 nights. So you can work a little bit more into those anyway. And then you have the one in December. They've shown in the past that, like, when they do this stuff, the first one always feels special. And then they're like, we got to do this shit again. Like, and then it goes downhill.
Battle of the belts.
So this one feels like a big deal. And I hope the January one feels like a big deal. I don't know how they're going to make that one feel like a big deal when you have the Rumble a week later. Yeah, maybe you put a world title match on that show too. You got enough titles now where you can fill these shows out with plenty of title matches. Of course, the stories have to be important going into it, not just, hey, here's a title match because it's a title match. Like, you got to actually make some people feel important going into it. As far as your question goes, I would probably open with Cody and Kevin. And I've been beaten the Kevin should win drum. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think it should, but I would open with Cody and Kevin because they've always opened with sort of the biggest match. And that's the biggest match. Cody's the top guy. He's the world title's on the line, undisputed title, whatever the hell it's called. And I would open with that. Now, if they are going to put the title on Kevin, I do think there's an argument for them closing and then you open with the Gunther match. Because then you're doing... Here's my sort of two thoughts on this. If you open with Cody and Kevin, that's sort of the biggest match. You worry about audience retention after that. It's like, oh, I've seen Cody, so what else do I need to stick around for? But if Kevin wins, then it's like, oh, maybe I should stick around to see if something else big happens because Kevin has won. That gives you it tells you something big can happen on this show, so I should stick around. If you open with Gunther and Gunther wins, then you're still sticking around because you want to see Cody and Kevin. So there's where, if you're opening with Cody and Kevin, you run the risk of losing the audience if Cody wins, because it's like, okay, I've seen Cody. What else is on this show? There's good stuff on this show, but look, Cody's the draw. Cody's the top guy on this card. But if Kevin wins, then it tells you something important can happen. Whether Kevin wins or not, Cody and Kevin in the main event makes sense to me, because we're going to stick around. We're going to watch Cody no matter what's on beforehand.
Yeah, old school mentality would dictate Cody and Kevin open the show, because that was the biggest match. It was the biggest promoted match, the first one promoted for the show, and it's for the WWE Championship. Like, it should start hot. That would, that in mind, you've got a show that starts at 8 o'clock, not at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock Eastern. You have 2 hours to fill of pretty good matches, hot matches if you've been following WWE. So you could get away with just about anything opening up this show, but it is about who comes out first being the biggest draw for someone who's maybe channel flipping, going on NBC, or maybe they're on Peacock and they're just looking for something to watch. It's like, who are you trying to attract? Are you trying to attract Joe Every Guy who's just flipping like, oh, I remember WWE? At which point maybe it's Jesse the Body Ventura having, a promo in the middle of the ring because he's going to be on commentary throughout the night. Maybe that's good enough to get people excited. And then the first match is the U.S. Championship, the Women's U.S. Championship final. And if there's a possibility that maybe, Charlotte Flair is making her return as early as tomorrow night, #bow down. Does she show up for that Women's U.S. Championship match, or does she show up after Liv Morgan and Io Sky and place herself on Raw effectively?
So the competition ain't very heavy tomorrow. There's no college football. There is, but it's South Alabama, Western Michigan in the Salute to Veterans Bowl. Sorry to South Alabama and Western Michigan. Don't think too many people are tuning in for that. The Army-Navy game's in the middle of the afternoon. It'll be over before Saturday's main event starts. I think there's a Heisman presentation. I don't feel like too many people tune in to watch the entire Heisman presentation. They just basically want to see who is going to win the thing, and then they tune out at the end. The biggest competition they have is the NBA Cup, and I'm going to be watching the NBA Cup. The 4:30 game is the Hawks and the Bucks. They ain't marketed that too great. The 8:30 game, which I will certainly be tuned into, and everybody, that's my watch along when I'm on this Christmas stream, is the Rockets and the Thunder. These ain't big markets teams. They don't have the Knicks. They don't have the Lakers. They don't have the Warriors. They haven't done anything to make Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a top star face of the league or anything. So they're facing the NBA Cup, where, again, the NBA Cup doesn't have that big top draw in it to where it's going to take away potential viewership for Saturday night's main event. So they're on at a good day with kind of lack of competition. And it is on NBC. It is on network television, Peacock as well. But, you're not like you're on USA Network to do this. So, like Henry, yeah, the NBA Cup, it is a finals that no one cares. It's a semifinals. It's not the finals. The finals will be later, I think on Tuesday. But yeah, it's the semifinals. And there aren't people that care about these teams. Sadly, look, I care. I'm a Thunder fan. I'll be watching. I don't care, much like I don't care about ratings in the world of wrestling. I don't care about ratings for the NBA Cup. My team's playing. I'm locked in. I would open with Cody and Kevin. I'd put the title on Kevin. I would close with the Queen.
I might reverse that.
Okay.
Given again that it's not starting at 10, it's starting at 8. It's a traditional primetime show. You might just be building to Kevin and Cody and just let that be the main event. There was a time when you would absolutely open with the WWE title match, but no, maybe it could just be as easy as Gunther and Finn and Damian open up the show. That's a pretty car crashing match. That'd be fun for a world title. People, and again, if your people just are like, oh, these are the world titles, that means something, then that could be good enough. But yes, Cody is QB1. You'll spend so much time, unless you're CM Punk, you'll spend so much time building to it that it maybe gets people to stick around. Have the countdown to Cody clock. Bring that back.
Oh, that ruled.
That did rule.
But
that's that's just what I was thinking about when it came down to the presentation for Saturday night's main event. there's a lot of potential as to what can open and close, but I don't think it's going to be presented match wise like it was originally, because the times are different.
I think it is. They're leaning so much into the nostalgia that, like,
I think
why
this is the
would it?
one thing. I think this is the one thing. And I also, Cody potentially coming out with that winged eagle belt, is that something that opens the show and has a story, or is it something that gets a big pop because it almost becomes the star of the show, that you like eventually you pull it out of the case and you show it to the crowd on the TVs, whatever, and they get excited to present it to Cody for tonight, and like it's a big deal, and off he goes, and that's like the main event of the night.
Cody's gonna come out with a winged eagle, and then Kevin's gonna win it. Just like toss that shit.
Excited, throw it off a bridge. Yeah. Someone had mentioned the idea of tying in the Evolution, the WWE Evolution pay-per-view, the all-women show, because that show was at the same venue in Uniondale at the Nassau Veterans Coliseum. So like, and Liv was on the show. I think EO was on the show as well. So like, there is some sort of like story you could get into there. They were in different matches, but like that could be I'm not saying this could be a main event, but there was like an argument for at least saying, Liv and EO main event, and they talk about how they were, on the cards in Uniondale here, but this building has some nostalgia for us, so now we're in the main event, and then you continue the women main event, the shows for the next 5 weeks or whatever. That was just something I was thinking of too.
And then the Queen returns.
And then that's the thing. And you can make it so that Charlotte returns at the end of the night, and that's your big sign off. Either way, there's a lot that's going to happen in this show. I mean, there's 5 matches and a 2-hour event. Some finish has to be wonky.
Why? You're always advocating for wonky finishes. I don't like it.
Only when it makes sense. Unfortunately, I called a wonky finish last night, and now Tessa Blanchard's back in TNA. So
I don't like your wonky finish ideas.
Well, we can wonk everything later. Is there anything else from the last few days we got to cover?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I have a new thumbnail to do, a new title, the Angertainment's back, baby.
Why TNA? Why?
I don't even know what to say.
Tessa nonstop action.
Oh, that's not a bad one. That's not a bad one.
It sucks.
Tessa back to TNA?
It sucks.
I don't know, man. It's so bad.
Watch TNA Final Resolution tonight, or don't. Who cares?
I don't even know if I'm going to do a post show now, because now I'm kind of teetering to like, well, people are going to want to be angry on the internet. So do we?
You're just going to do one? You can do one on Overbooked, whatever.
Oh yeah, we could do it on the main. That's not the problem. It's whether or not I want to be up at 11 o'clock p.m. on a Friday night when I've been up since 5:30. Like, do I want to do this?
Why do you want to watch wrestling? Period. That's the worst part of it all.
Buddy, if I could take my Thursdays off, I would, but I don't get that satisfaction.
I'm a complete Tuesdays off.
I watch NXT because inevitably something happens, but I also watch NXT like in the hour format that I have on it.
Yeah, so
you so much shit.
Largely get days off. I don't know what days off are.
Never heard of it. Val saying, would Becky be too soon? I think Becky's more of a Netflix.
Becky's Netflix.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'd wait for her there.
I think Becky's going to be Netflix.
She should absolutely come out and say, you couldn't have the man without some Beckflix. That's going to be hard to say. Yeah, that's what I would do. Anyway, anything to plug before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
Perfect.
I don't know.
Watch Final Resolution or don't. Will there be a post show? We'll find out.
Wow, we didn't preview SmackDown. We had a big episode.
Oh, that's right. His big episode of SmackDown. We can do that.
It's not that big.
It's a huge episode. The biggest episode. One of the biggest episodes we've ever done. So big that I have to open up the preview. And
it's Bailey against Chelsea Green. It's Chin against Tiffany Stratton. And it's Carmelo Hayes against TBD.
TBD?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Tessa Blanchard.
No, it's Penta. Remember? Everything is Penta.
Tessa Blanchard, damn it. That's who she's facing.
Oh, it's a double taping tonight, isn't it? That's right. Oh boy.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Tessa Blanchard shows up in the second half of WWE SmackDown.
Eh.
All right. For Jeremy Lambert, I am at
Who's going to win the U.S. Women's title?
Well,
Who'd you pick?
Chelsea's up there. I really do feel like Chelsea is that person, but I don't know, man. Like Mi Chin's the only other one. It feels like that's the final, and those two women would be great. Yeah, but Chelsea and Mi Chin would be a great final match because they've had good matches before. But like, if this is a way to reward Chelsea, then sure, I'm fine with that. Good start. Someone else will probably take it from her, but yeah, TBD is Tessa Blanchard, dudes.
I think it's going to be Bailey and Tiffany in the final.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I could see that. Tiffy time, or does Bailey capture?
I kind of feel like they're going to go with Bailey.
Well, we'll know at the feather stroke of 8 o'clock what's going to happen.
I kind of feel like they're going to go with Bailey as tried and true. We know we can trust Bailey with this, and I think that's where they go with her.
Tiffany should have just cashed in immediately when this thing started.
Yeah, we said that. Yeah. She should now just cash in on the Intercontinental title. The Women's Intercontinental title. Just go over to Raw and just be like, yeah, I'm going to cash in. I don't need to be in these triple threat matches. It's mine.
Yeah, my belt. Then Bailey just like, no, it's mine. Anyway, they'll do a tug of war. Yeah, so that's SmackDown. Jeremy has nothing else to plug. I have nothing else to plug. Holiday stream is, I guess I do. Holiday stream is 8 p.m. Saturday on the main channel. So come check that out, or don't. But actually do, because it's like the one time when we're all together on a screen and we all pretend like we like each other for a few minutes. It's fun.
I don't speak.
Traditionally, it's something that happens, but it is Friday, so I guess we should probably do the thing. You ready?
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. Because this is how good. The final boss. God damn, that's good shit.
For Jeremy Lambert, I am at Joel Pearl. JOELPEARL. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern, to do it all over again. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.